Chapter 1999. Divine General Mighty Miracle, Go and Capture Mu Yunshan. Divine Son Yi Hong was obviously restless. He was fighting against Ning Yu's aura while ordering Divine General Mighty Miracle to capture Mu Yunshan. In Divine Son Yi Hong's opinion, no matter how strong Ning Yu was, he wouldn't be able to protect Mu Yunshan and Ning Hai. However, Divine General Mighty Miracle had 5 great Tao powers. It probably wouldn't take much effort for Divine General Mighty Miracle to fight against Mu Yunshan. Divine General Nanwen, go and capture Ning Hai for me. Divine Son Yuanba ordered the middle-aged man behind him when he saw Divine Son Yi Hong ordering Divine General Mighty Miracle to attack. Divine General Nanwen was Divine Son Yuanba's follower. Relatively speaking, Divine General Nanwen had one more great Tao powers than Divine General Mighty Miracle. Divine General Nanwen had a total of 6 great Tao powers. Yes. After receiving Divine Son Yuanba's order, Divine General Nanwen leaped up and charged towards Ning Hai. Hee Ning Yu, I want to see if you really have 3 heads and 6 arms. After Divine General Nanwen and Divine General Mighty Miracle attacked, Divine Son Yuanba's lips curled up slightly. He stared at Ning Yu and said with a sinister smile, "Don't worry, I won't kill your parents so easily. I will slowly kill them by dismembering their flesh piece by piece." Bang! Bang! Before Divine Son Yuanba could finish his words, something unbelievable happened. Divine General Nanwen and Divine General Juling, who had just made a move, were sent flying on the spot and fell heavily on the ground, like dogs eating mud. What's going on? The sudden change not only surprised Divine Son Yuanba, but also Divine Son Yi Hong and the surrounding experts. Their mouths were slightly agape and their faces were filled with disbelief. Buzz. Divine Son Yuanba didn't have to wait for too long. Then, the void split open and several martial artists appeared. The 2 martial artists at the front were Human Demon and Zhao Rui. Behind them were the Dark Emperor Ning Lu, Zhao Hang and the others. Dark Emperor Ning Lu, I'll leave those 2 fellows to you. After casually defeating Divine General Nawan and Divine General Juling, Human Demon waved his hand at Dark Emperor and Ning Lu, saying, "When devouring them, remember to be careful. Don't get hurt." Don't worry. Devouring these 2 small shrimps is not a problem at all. The Dark Emperor and Ning Lu snickered, then rushed out in unison. Ever since he passed the Earth Immortal Tribulation, the Dark Emperor had awakened the memories of the Heaven-Swallowing Hound. His strength was comparable to a martial artist with the 6 Tao forces. As for Ning Lu, 6 dark golden branches grew out of his body. With the current strength of the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu, even if Divine General Nawan and Divine General Juling were not injured, they might not be their match. Moreover, Divine General Nawan and Divine General Juling were already on the verge of death. "Who are you people?" Seeing that Divine General Nawan and Divine General Juling were defeated in an instant, Divine Son Yi Hong's expression changed and he shouted in a deep voice, "Why are you going against us? The people who will kill you." The Human Demon and Zhao Rui took a step forward and released their aura. Together with Ning Yu, they crazily pressed towards Divine Son Yi Hong and Divine Son Yuanba. Crack crack. Originally, Divine Son Yi Hong and Divine Son Yuanba could still fight against Ning Yu a little. However, after the Human Demon and Zhao Rui attacked, they were instantly at a disadvantage. Moreover, it was an absolute disadvantage. Divine Son Mo Tua, if you don't come out now, when are you going to? Divine Son Yi Hong knew how powerful the Human Demon and Zhao Rui were. He immediately shouted towards the other side. Divine Son Qianquan, hurry up and come out. Divine Son Yuanba did not stay idle either. He shouted towards the void. Swoosh! Swoosh! Just as Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong finished their words, the void trembled. Then 2 martial artists appeared and landed beside them. They were Divine Sun Mo Tua from the Demon's Restaurant and Divine Sun Qiankuan from the Transformation God sect. Mo Qianye, whom Ningyu had killed previously, was the deputy sect master of the Transformation God sect. You don't have to say it. I will also attack. Divine Sun Qiankuan stared at Ningyu as soon as he appeared. He said sinisterly, Ningyu killed our deputy sect master, Mo Qianye. Our Transformation God sect is already irreconcilable with him. Ningyu is utterly devoid of conscience. He killed all the people of our Devil's Tavern in the City of Devils, and he even killed the demonic godson. Our Devil's Tavern is absolutely irreconcilable with him. Divine Sun Mo Tuo's eyes were cold as he scolded. Until now, Divine Sun Yi Hong of the Sacred Divine Palace, Divine Sun Yuanba of the Primordial Demon Sect, Divine Sun Mo To of the Demon's Restaurant, and Divine Sun Qiankuan of the Transformation God sect, the top-notch divine princes of the four major forces, all stood against Ningyu. Ningyu should be finished. I think so too. He offended the Sacred Divine Palace, the Primordial Demon Sect, the Demon's Restaurant, and the Transformation God sect at the same time. Even a heaven immortal would not be able to survive. Since Ningyu dared to offend these four forces, do you think he has offended other forces as well? Swoosh. The last martial artist's words made everyone's heart skip a beat. They quickly looked at Ningyu. That's right. With Ningyu's strong performance, he might have offended other forces as well. Those who are not involved, please leave. Ningyu's gaze swept the surroundings as he spoke indifferently. Due to the appearance of Divine Sun Qiankuan and Divine Sun Mo Tua, Ningyu and Divine Sun Yi Hong withdrew their auras tacitly. Ningyu knew very well that there were definitely more enemies in this area. Instead of waiting for him to be ambushed while fighting with Divine Sun Yi Hong and the others, he might as well call out all his enemies first. If Ningyu was alone, Ningyu would not have dared to do so. But now that Human Demon and Zhao Rui had appeared, he was full of confidence. After all, be it Human Demon or Zhao Rui, their combat abilities were similar to his. Whoosh! Ningyu's words directly caused the surrounding martial artists to step back one after another. It didn't take long for Ningyu's position to be completely empty. Still not coming out? Ningyu squinted his eyes and said to the void behind Divine Sun Yi Hong. Buzz. As soon as Ningyu said that, the void behind Divine Sun Yi Hong cracked and a young martial artist appeared. Divine Sun Gui Wu. Seeing the martial artist behind him, Divine Sun Yi Hong's expression changed and he exclaimed. Divine Sun Yi Hong had no idea that there was a martial artist hiding behind him. At the moment, Divine Sun Yi Hong was still a little scared. If Divine Sun Gui Wu had attacked him secretly, he would have died for sure. One should know that Divine Sun Gui Wu was the peerless Divine Son of Fallen Spirits sect. Although he only had 9 great path powers, he was much stronger than him. Fallen Spirits sect's counterpart in Immortal Spirit region was Corpse sect. Corpse sect was an orthodoxy of Divine Sun Gui Wu in Immortal Spirit region. Most of the martial artists in it were Divine Sun Gui Wu's servants. Your body is very strong. You should be able to make an excellent puppet. Chapter 2000. Ningyu wasn't surprised by the appearance of the Divine Prince. Instead, he was very calm. Ningyu moved his eyes away from the Divine Prince and looked to the other side. Did he notice me? Sensing Ningyu's gaze, the Divine Prince, who was hiding in the sky, shuddered. He couldn't help but feel surprised. In fact, the Divine Prince had arrived not long after Ningyu arrived. In other words, the Divine Prince had witnessed the fight between Ningyu and Divine Prince Yi Hong. Although the Divine Prince thought that Ningyu's strength was powerful, he wasn't too worried. In Tianlong's opinion, he was more powerful than Ningyu. However, Ningyu seemed to have noticed his presence, which made him look extremely serious. One had to know that his ability to conceal his aura was something that even some ordinary heavenly immortals might not be able to discover. The fact that Ningyu could find him was enough to prove that Ningyu was not simple. Was it just my imagination? The Divine Prince frowned, a bit confused. Because Ningyu's gaze didn't stay on him for too long before he turned to the other side. Another old man in another void space was just as confused as Divine Prince Tianlong. The five-fingered deity. The five-fingered deity had come with the Divine Prince. The five-fingered deity had wanted to kill the Divine Prince right away. However, there were many powerful cultivators in the Thousand Demons Ridge. The five-fingered deity was afraid that he would be surrounded, so he chose to wait. After all, everyone knew that he was a sky immortal. Once he was exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Humph! How dare you! While the Divine Prince and the five-fingered deity were confused, a cold snort was suddenly heard in the area. Without a doubt, the one who had snorted was the Divine Prince Gui Wu. The Divine Prince Gui Wu was extremely angry. Divine Prince Yihong from the Sacred Divine Palace, Divine Prince Yuanba from the Primeval Demon Sect, and Divine Prince Qiankuan from the God Transformation Sect were all weaker than him. He thought that after he appeared, Ningyu would definitely kneel and beg him for mercy as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Who would have thought that Ningyu wouldn't even look at him? How could Divine Child Gui Wu endure such a situation? Whoosh! Therefore, after a cold snort, God-child Gui Wu stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. Chi-chi! God-child Gui Wu did not hold back this time and used his full strength. He wrapped the power of 9 great paths around his wrist and blasted it out. Should we attack? Divine Prince Yihong frowned and asked after seeing Divine Prince Gui Wu attacking like a madman. There's no need. Let's wait a little longer. Divine Sun Yuanba shook his head and said, Divine Sun Gui Wu is very strong. Let him test out Ningyu first. Actually, Ningyu isn't our main opponent. Divine Prince Qiankuan's face was solemn as he said in a low voice, Our opponents should be the old man and the young woman beside Ningyu. Divine Prince Qiankuan was very clear about this. The pressure that the human demon and Zhao Rui gave him was too great, even greater than the pressure that Ningyu gave him. Therefore, Divine Prince Qiankuan's attention was on the human demon and Zhao Rui from the beginning. As for Ningyu, he would let Divine Prince Gui Wu deal with him. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Ningyu and Divine Prince Gui Wu were fighting. The two fists collided and the sky and earth cracked. A small vortex appeared in the void. Whoosh! Whoosh! After the attack, Ningyu and Divine Prince Gui Wu retreated several steps at the same time. Judging from the distance, Ningyu's strength was on par with Divine Prince Gui Wu. However, as the person involved, Divine Prince Gui Wu knew very well. He was at a disadvantage in this attack. There's something strange about his Grand Dao power. Divine Prince Gui Wu stared at Ningyu with a dark face. Divine Prince Gui Wu wasn't stupid. He knew that Ningyu had used the Grand Dao power. However, Ningyu had only used 1 Grand Dao power and he had forced back 9 Grand Dao powers. Divine Prince Gui Wu had never heard of such a thing before. Did he merge the Grand Dao power? Suddenly, the Divine Son of Gui Wu seemed to have thought of something. His already ugly expression turned even colder. Theoretically, only a few peerless geniuses could merge the Grand Dao power. In mid-sized territories, even the top 3 martial artists on the longevity roll might not be able to do it. Divine Prince Gui Wu himself could merge the Grand Dao power, but he only managed to do so a little. The terrifying merging ability that Ningyu had displayed shocked him. Because being able to merge the Grand Dao power meant that he could devour it. I must kill him and extract his memories. Divine Prince Gui Wu made up his mind to kill Ningyu and extract his memories. Devouring the Grand Dao power was too terrifying. Ordinary martial artists could only let the Grand Dao power increase as they wished, but they couldn't merge them. In other words, ordinary martial artists could only have 10 grand Tao power at most before they reached the Sky Immortal level. Any more and they would trigger the Sky Immortal Tribulation. But martial artists that could devour the power of the Great Path were different. They could compress the power of the Great Path, constantly compressing it so that they could maintain the power of the Great Path at 9 or even 10. Divine Prince Gui Wu, do you need our help? Divine Prince Yihong asked when he saw that Divine Prince Gui Wu had stopped attacking. You three watch over the others. Leave Ning Yu to me. Divine Sun Gui Wu turned around and glared at Divine Sun Yihong. Then, he turned into a blur and disappeared in an instant. Buzz! As soon as Divine Prince Gui Wu disappeared, he reappeared in front of Ningyu. Another fist imbued with the power of the Great Path blasted toward Ningyu. Here you go! However, just as Ningyu was about to fight Divine Prince Gui Wu, Ning Hai suddenly threw the mysterious wooden rod at him. Smack! Ningyu's mind stirred and he hurriedly grabbed the mysterious wooden stick. Whoosh! As soon as he grabbed the mysterious wooden rod, Ningyu felt a terrifying suction force devouring the energy in his body. My mysterious wooden rod. Ningyu clearly didn't expect this. He quickly tried to throw the mysterious wooden rod away. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't throw it away. Ha ha ha, die! Divine Prince Gui Wu couldn't help but laugh when he saw Ningyu trapped by the mysterious wooden rod. Humph! Isn't it too early to be happy? Ningyu snorted. Then, he controlled the heavenly tribulation liquid in his storage ring and poured it into the mysterious wooden rod. Buzz! Buzz! As the heavenly tribulation liquid was poured in, the mysterious wooden rod vibrated slightly. Moreover, the vibrations became more and more obvious and intense. In the end, the mysterious wooden rod even broke free from Ningyu's control and attacked Divine Prince Gui Wu. This. Chapter 2001. The reason Ningyu was confused was that he had injected the heavenly tribulation fluid into the mysterious wooden stick with the attitude of giving it a try. To his surprise, the heavenly tribulation fluid really worked. Ningyu could clearly see that there were two terrifying energies in the mysterious wooden stick. One of them was the heavenly tribulation fluid he had just injected into the wooden stick. The heavenly tribulation fluid only stayed in the mysterious wooden stick for a few seconds before turning into terrifying energy. The speed of the transformation shocked Ningyu. As for the other terrifying energy, Ningyu guessed that it was unique to the mysterious wooden stick. Neither of the two energies were weak. In terms of power, they could go up against a martial artist with 8 Tao powers. What the hell? God Sun Gui Wu's face darkened as he looked at the mysterious wooden stick that kept charging at him. God Child Gui Wu knew very well the power of the mysterious wooden stick. Ning Hai, a martial artist with 5 Tao powers, could go up against God Sun Yuanba head-on with the mysterious wooden stick. Now that the mysterious wooden stick was in Ningyu's hands, how could it be weak? Block it! But at this point, God Sun Gui Wu could no longer back down. He wrapped all the power of the Great Path around his wrist and punched the mysterious wooden stick with a backhand. Swoosh! Swoosh! However, as soon as God Sun Gui Wu punched, 2 cold rays shot out from the mysterious wooden stick. Left with no other choice, God Sun Gui Wu punched again. Bang! Bang! 2 punches, 2 cold rays. 2 crisp sounds were heard. Arg! Then, the divine child Gui Wu screamed like a pig being slaughtered. My hand! God Sun Gui Wu retreated quickly and looked at his left hand, screaming hysterically. Just now, God Sun Gui Wu's right hand went against the energy of the heavenly tribulation fluid. His left hand went against the energy of the mysterious wooden stick. The result was obvious. Only one bone in God Sun Gui Wu's right hand was broken, but his left hand was completely broken. SSS. The surrounding cultivators couldn't help but gasp when they saw the godchild's miserable state. What exactly is that wooden stick? Why is it so strong? It should be a heavenly treasure? Divine Prince Gui Wu is the peerless divine prince of the fallen spirits sect. He has 9 Tao powers in his body. The wooden stick that can injure him must be at least a heavenly treasure, or even higher. Many martial artists discussed among themselves. Among them, the hearts of divine princes Yi Hong, Yuanba and Qian Kuan sank to the bottom. Ningyu didn't even make a move. He only used the mysterious wooden stick to injure Gui Wu Shizi easily. If Ningyu had the mysterious wooden stick, how powerful would he be? Do you still want to make a move? Divine Son Yi Hong approached Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Qiankuan and asked in a low voice. No one who could become a peerless divine prince of a major force was a fool. God's son Yi Hong had already made up his mind. If he saw that the situation was not good, he would escape immediately. Although this was a little embarrassing, it was better than losing his life. We will definitely make a move, but not now. Divine Son Yuanba grunted. He was a little different from Divine Son Yi Hong. Divine Son Yuanba had a bad temper. It was impossible for him to be scared before the battle. We have to make a move. Divine Son Qiankuan suggested solemnly. What I mean is to capture Ningyu's parents and make Ningyu hesitate. Good idea. Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong exclaimed at the same time. Divine Son Qiankuan was right. As long as they could capture Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan, Ningyu would definitely hesitate. By then, wouldn't Ningyu be able to do whatever he wanted? Divine Son Yuanba, go and stop that old man. Divine Son Yi Hong, go and stop that young lady. Divine Son Qiankuan pointed at the human demon and Zhao Rui and said, Why us? Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong looked a little upset. Everyone knew that the human demon and Zhao Rui were extremely powerful. It was obviously a tough job to fight against the human demon and Zhao Rui. Because the two of you are stronger than me. Divine Son Qiankuan said and gave a reason that Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong couldn't refuse. Swoosh. Moreover, Divine Son Qiankuan chose to act first and report later. Without waiting for Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong's agreement, he dashed towards Ning Hai. Damn it! Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong had no choice but to attack the human demon and Zhao Rui. Dark Emperor Ning Lu, you two watch them. Seeing Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong approaching him, the human demon twisted his neck and ordered the Dark Emperor and Divine Son Yi Hong. Then, he dashed towards them. Swoosh. Zhao Rui didn't stay idle after seeing the human demon rush out. She also attacked. Although the human demon was strong, he couldn't defeat Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong by himself. After all, Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong both had the power of 9 great paths. Boom. A great battle broke out. However, it was obvious that the battle here wasn't the main battlefield. On the other side, Ningyu was already fighting with Divine Son Gui Wu with the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Although Divine Son Gui Wu's left hand was broken, his strength didn't decrease too much. Who are you? Which faction are you from? Divine Son Gui Wu became more and more surprised as the battle went on. Divine Son Gui Wu had met many peerless geniuses in the high-level planes. It could be said that none of the geniuses Divine Son Gui Wu had met were as strong as Ningyu. Divine Son Gui Wu suspected Ningyu's identity. He thought that Ningyu wasn't a native of the immortal spirit state, but came from a high-level plane like him. Which faction I come from doesn't seem to have much to do with you. Ningyu held the mysterious wooden stick and smashed it at Divine Son Gui Wu's head again. Ningyu didn't choose to use the red demon sword. He thought that he could defeat Divine Son Gui Wu with the mysterious wooden stick. As for the red demon sword, he would use it later. Go to hell. Divine Son Gui Wu snarled. He moved slightly to the side and avoided Ningyu's wooden stick attack. Then, Divine Son Gui Wu took out his Dharma treasure, a real heavenly treasure flying sword. Ding! However, the mysterious wooden stick arrived in front of him as soon as Divine Sun Gui Wu took out the flying sword. Divine Sun Gui Wu had no choice but to put the flying sword in front of him to block the wooden stick's attack. Crack! Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. In the face of the mysterious wooden stick, Ghost Mist Shenxi's flying sword couldn't even hold on for a second before it was smashed to pieces. "My heavenly treasure!" Divine Sun Gui Wu yelled. A heavenly treasure flying sword was broken by a wooden stick just like that? Divine Sun Gui Wu couldn't believe it and didn't want to believe it. Chapter 2002. Humph. You're about to lose your life and you're still thinking about your heavenly treasure. Ningyu grunted and dashed out again with the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back. Ningyu didn't want to give Divine Prince Gui Wu any chance. After all, Divine Prince Gui Wu had the power of 9 grand paths. A peerless genius like him would make you regret it if you gave him the slightest chance. I don't believe this broken wooden stick can still unleash such a powerful attack. Divine Prince Gui Wu threw away the broken heavenly treasure flying sword in his hand and chose to fight the mysterious wooden stick with his fist. Essence Chi, Grand Path Power, Soul Power, Primordial Spirit. Divine Prince Gui Wu transferred almost everything he could use to his right hand. Because this attack was related to Divine Prince Gui Wu's life. If he blocked it, he could follow up with another attack and defeat Ningyu. If he couldn't, he would become Ningyu's prisoner and be at Ningyu's mercy. Block it. Divine Prince Gui Wu clenched his right fist and punched the mysterious wooden stick. Go! Ningyu knew the importance of this attack. The Grand Path power in his body surged and wrapped around the surface of the mysterious wooden stick, attacking together with it. Even though Ningyu knew this attack was important, he still didn't want to inject the Grand Path power into the wooden stick. After all, he could still remember the speed at which the Grand Path power absorbed the thunder liquid. What if the mysterious wooden stick couldn't absorb it? Who could he reason with? I wonder who will win between Ningyu and Divine Prince Gui Wu. Divine Prince Tianlong frowned in the air. Before Ningyu and Divine Prince Gui Wu fought, Divine Prince Tianlong thought highly of Divine Prince Gui Wu. But as the fight went on, Divine Prince Tianlong changed his mind and thought that Ningyu would win. However, because this attack was so important, Divine Prince Gui Wu had used almost all his trump cards, so Divine Prince Tianlong wasn't sure who would win. I must get the mysterious wooden stick. The five-finger deity and god Sun Tianlong were focused on different things. He didn't care who would win between Ningyu and god Sun Gui Wu. All he cared about was the mysterious wooden stick in Ningyu's hand. As a Sky Immortal expert, Five-Fingered Immortal naturally knew how terrifying the mysterious wooden stick was. Although he wasn't certain of the quality of the mysterious wooden stick, he felt that it was at least at the peak of the heavenly treasure level. Moreover, it was extremely likely that it had reached the level of a dark treasure. After all, the mysterious wooden stick had easily split the Divine Prince's heavenly treasure in half. Under the watchful eyes of tens of thousands, the mysterious wooden stick collided with Godchild Gui Wu's right hand. Gotcha! As soon as the two collided, a crisp sound rang out. Ah! Then, the divine child screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Without a doubt, this attack ended with the Divine Prince Gui Wu's defeat. Xiao! Ningyu wasn't going to give the Divine Prince any chance. He dashed forward with the mysterious wooden stick in his hand and smashed it at the Divine Prince's head. Ningyu's goal was to kill the Divine Prince. As for the Grand Dao power inside the Divine Prince, Ningyu didn't think too much about it. It would be good if he could devour it, but he wouldn't be upset if he couldn't. Bang! Since the Divine Prince Gui Wu was fatally injured, he couldn't do anything about Ningyu's attack. The sound of the wooden stick hitting the Divine Prince's head echoed in the area. Even if I die, I'll drag someone down with me. The Divine Prince Gui Wu roared, and was about to explode his Grand Dao power. Xiao, xiao, xiao. However, as soon as the divine child Gui Wu unleashed the power of the Grand Tao in his body, a terrifying devouring power came from the mysterious wooden stick before he could even self-destruct. Without a doubt, the 9 Grand Tao powers inside the divine Prince Gui Wu's body were all devoured by the mysterious wooden stick. Gulp. Seeing the actions of the mysterious wooden stick, even Ning Yu couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Terrifying. Extremely terrifying. It was extremely terrifying. What exactly was the mysterious wooden stick? First, he easily defeated Divine Prince Gui Wu. Then, he devoured Divine Prince Gui Wu's 9 Tao powers. That alone showed that the mysterious wooden stick was no weaker than a real heavenly treasure. Mom, where did you get this wooden stick? Ningyu turned to Mu Yunshan and asked as he watched the divine child of Gui Wu get devoured into a pile of skin. This mysterious wooden stick was left behind by your grandpa. Mu Yunshan thought for a while and said, actually, when your grandpa left the mysterious wooden stick, he left behind a message. What message? Ningyu was confused. The peerless divine metal will sweep the world. Mu Yunshan said. The peerless divine metal? Ningyu's eyes widened and his face was filled with disbelief. He had fought with the wooden stick for so long, but he didn't know that it was actually made of divine metal and not wood. Bang, bang, bang. While Ningyu was still feeling ashamed of his ignorance, the battle on the other side was coming to an end. The human demon and Zhao Rui teamed up to fight against Divine Prince Yihong, Divine Prince Yuanba and Divine Prince Qian Kuan. It looked like an unequal confrontation, but in reality, the human demon and Zhao Rui had a crushing victory. Didn't you say you were going to catch Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan? Divine Prince Yuanba and Divine Prince Yihong struggled to get up from the ground and stared at Divine Prince Qian Kuan. Why did you come back halfway? To be honest, Divine Prince Yuanba and Divine Prince Yihong were furious. The human demon and Zhao Rui didn't choose to attack Divine Prince Qian Kuan. But who would have thought that Divine Prince Qian Kuan would give up on Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan and fight against the human demon and Zhao Rui with them? Did you think I wanted to? Divine Prince Yuanba and Divine Prince Yihong were angry, but so was Divine Prince Qian Kuan. Everything seemed to be proceeding in an orderly manner. Divine Prince Yuanba and Divine Prince Yihong worked together to stop the human demon and Zhao Rui. He went to catch Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan. But just as he was about to get close to Ning Hai, a terrifying pressure suddenly pressed down on him from the void. The pressure made Divine Prince Qian Kuan's heart palpitate. A sky immortal. Divine Prince Qian Kuan was absolutely right. Even if the martial artist who had released the pressure on him wasn't a sky immortal, it had to be an expert with 10 Tao powers. What should we do with them? The human demon glanced at Divine Prince Qian Kuan and the other two, then looked at Ningyu and asked. Kill them. Ningyu didn't hesitate at all. The only way to deal with such people was to kill them. As for controlling them, Ningyu wouldn't do anything stupid. It was fine to control a martial artist like Divine Prince Wuji, who only had 1 or 2 Tao powers. But to control a martial artist with 9 Tao powers, unless Ning Yu's strength was doubled, it would only be a burden. You can't kill us. Chapter 2003. Do you really think you can break the seal in front of the 1,000 Demons Ridge with just the few of you? Ningyu glanced at Divine Sun Qiankuan and said faintly, You guys aren't the only ones here. After I kill all of you, there will be others who will be willing to break the seal in front of the myriad Demons Ridge with me. Divine Son of Heaven's face darkened after hearing Ningyu's words. He was even trembling all over. Anyone would be afraid in the face of death. Divine Son of Heaven was no exception. He desperately wanted to live on. As long as you don't kill me, I can tell you a secret. Divine Son of Heaven secretly glanced at Divine Son Yihong and Divine Son Yuanba, and then said to Ningyu using soul telepathy. Oh? Tell me about it. Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked. The reason why Ningyu didn't choose to kill Divine Son of Heaven and Earth right away was because he knew that there were still a few peerless experts hiding in the void. He had just gone through a huge battle and was not in his peak condition. If he continued to fight, he would inevitably be injured. Therefore, he decided to wait and see. He would talk to Divine Son of Heaven and Earth while resting. Zhao Rui and the human demon did the same. They had already closed their eyes and started to rest. We are just the vanguard. There will be even more powerful martial artists coming later. Divine Son of Heaven took a deep breath and explained, "The key to their arrival is a teleportation array in the Thousand Demons Ridge." Divine Son of Heaven continued after seeing that Ningyu didn't say anything. According to the agreement, Divine Son Yi Hong and Divine Son Yuanba will be responsible for opening the teleportation array. The rest will be responsible for stopping the martial artists from entering the Thousand Demons Ridge. Ningyu frowned and murmured, "Interesting. Can you let me go now?" Divine Son of Heaven asked carefully when he saw Ningyu frown. Divine Son of Heaven thought that if he told Ningyu such an important news, Ningyu would let him go. However, Divine Prince Qiankuan had lost his mind. Even a 3-year-old child would not have such an idea. Divine Prince Qiankuan was the peerless Divine Prince of the God Transformation sect, but he was still confused. One had to admit that he must have been out of his mind. "Kill Godson Yi Hong and Godson Yuanba and I can let you go." Ning Yu's expression was indifferent, without the slightest trace of emotion. This Divine Son of Heaven opened his mouth slightly. Apparently, he did not expect Ningyu to ask him to do this. For a moment, Divine Prince Qiankuan was in a dilemma. To be honest, in the battle just now, he was the one with the least injuries. With his current strength, it was not impossible for him to kill Divine Son Yi Hong and Divine Son Yuanba. However, he was a little worried. After all, what if Ningyu still didn't let him go after he killed Yi Hong and Yuanba God? Wouldn't he become everyone's target then? Not only would he not survive, but he would also implicate the entire deity transformation sect. One should know that in a high-level plane, the deity transformation sect was just a small sect compared to the sacred divine palace and the primordial demon sect. As long as the sacred divine palace or the primordial demon sect sent a sky immortal, they could easily destroy the deity transformation sect. Dilemma. Divine Prince Qiankuan was in a dilemma. "It's fine if you don't want to. I won't force you." Ningyu shrugged, indicating that he didn't care what Divine Prince Qiankuan did. After all, his conversation with Divine Prince Qiankuan was purely to kill time. All right, I'm willing." Ningyu's words were like a thorn that stabbed into Divine Prince Qiankuan's heart, making it hard for him to breathe. In order to survive, Divine Prince Qiankuan immediately dashed out and launched a powerful attack at Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong. "Is your brain rusty?" Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong widened their eyes when they saw Divine Prince Qiankuan rushing towards them. They would never have imagined that Divine Prince Qiankuan would dare to attack them. After all, the deity transformation sect that Divine Prince Qiankuan came from was just a small sect. "I hope you don't blame me." Divine Prince Qiankuan's face was fierce. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived in front of Divine Son Yuanba and Divine Son Yi Hong. Divine Prince Qiankuan clenched his fists and threw 2 punches. One was aimed at Divine Son Yuanba and the other at Divine Son Yi Hong. "You're courting death." Divine Son Yuanba's eyes widened. He threw a punch and it collided with Divine Prince Qiankuan's fist. On the other side, Divine Son Yi Hong also threw a punch. Crack, crack, crack. 3 crisp sounds rang out consecutively. Soon after, 3 figures were sent flying like kites with their strings cut. "Ningyu, do you think they'll play tricks?" The human demon had already opened his eyes when Divine Prince Qiankuan attacked. At that moment, the human demon stared at the battlefield and frowned. "Each of them has 9 great path powers. I'm afraid something might happen." In fact, the human demon's worry wasn't unreasonable. If the three of them still had trump cards, the consequences would be unimaginable. It's fine. However, Ningyu didn't care about the human demon's worries. After a few minutes of recuperation, he had completely recovered to his peak state. Moreover, the reason why Ningyu was so calm was that the mysterious wooden stick had given him some feedback. In short, he could already use the mysterious wooden stick. The power of the mysterious wooden stick was self-evident. With the mysterious wooden stick in hand, Ningyu was confident that he could fight against a martial artist with 10 great path powers. Your strength now, seeing Ningyu's confident look, Zhao Rui couldn't help but ask. Before Ningyu fought with Divine Sun Gui Wu, Zhao Rui felt that Ningyu's strength should be able to fight against a martial artist with 9 great path powers. But now, Zhao Rui couldn't see through Ningyu's strength. I'm not sure about the specifics. Ningyu shook his head and said, but if I fight with Divine Sun Gui Wu again, I should be able to defeat him easily. Run. While Ningyu was still talking to Zhao Rui, what the human demon was worried about happened. Divine Sun Qiankuan, Divine Sun Yuanba, and Divine Sun Yi Hong immediately betrayed them and started running in 3 different directions. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 3 silhouettes left afterimages in midair and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Where do you think you're going? The human demon's expression changed when he saw Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others running away. He wanted to stop them. Let me. Ningyu grabbed the human demon and waved the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 rays of cold light shot out of the mysterious wooden stick and into the air. As soon as the cold light entered the air, the sound of 3 people spitting out blood was heard. Then, 3 figures fell from the void and landed heavily on the ground. Swoosh. Chapter 2004. This time, Ningyu did not intend to hold back. Since he had recovered to his peak, Ningyu would not allow Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others to continue messing around. Ningyu's idea was simple. He would first kill Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others, then slowly deal with the martial artists hiding in the void. Otherwise, he would have to take care of everything. Buzz. However, before Ningyu could reach Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others, the void shook. Then, an afterimage shot out from the void. Oh no! The sudden change caused the human demon and Zhao Rui's expressions to change. The 2 of them didn't think too much and hurriedly flashed out and blocked in front of Ningyu. At that moment, even a pig would know that the martial artist who came out of the void was targeting Ningyu. At that moment, Ningyu's attention was almost entirely focused on Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others. How could he spare any attention to deal with the martial artist in the void? Human Demon and Zhao Rui stopped the martial artist to buy time for Ningyu. After all, in their opinion, with Ningyu's current strength, killing the heavily injured Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others would be as easy as pie. Finally making a move. This time, Human Demon and Zhao Rui had obviously underestimated Ningyu. Although most of Ningyu's attention was on Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others, he still noticed the martial artist who came out of the void. Ningyu did not make a fuss just because a martial artist came out of the void. Instead, he looked a little serious. This was because Ningyu knew very well that there was more than one martial artist hiding in the void. The one who made a move now was not the strongest one. Whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, Human Demon and Zhao Rui fought with the martial artist who came out of the void. The result was a little out of Ningyu's expectations. In just one move, Human Demon and Zhao Rui were sent flying. They spat out a mouthful of blood and their auras began to drop. Crack, crack, gotcha. Ningyu wanted to observe for a while longer, and let the Human Demon and Zhao Rui hold on for a few more minutes. However, the current situation had put a stop to his plan of devouring Shindi Qiankuan and the others. He smashed his rod 3 times on the heads of Shindi Qiankuan and the others. 3 crisp sounds rang out consecutively. The heads of Divine Sun Qiankuan, Divine Sun Yuanba and Divine Sun Yihong exploded on the spot. Without a doubt, the primordial spirits of Divine Prince Qiankuan and the others, as well as the power of the Grand Path, were all sucked into the mysterious wooden stick. Xiao. As for Ningyu, he turned around and charged towards another battlefield. Humph. Merely 2 pieces of trash, and you're delusional enough to stop me. The Divine Prince of Tianlong was in high spirits at the moment. His strength wasn't something Divine Prince Gui Wu and Divine Prince Qiankuan could compare with. In your next life, you'd better open your eyes wide before you act. There are some people you can't afford to offend. Godson Tianlong snorted, then lifted his right leg and kicked at the human demon and Zhao Rui. As the peerless Divine Prince of the Heaven Secret Sect, Godson Tianlong had his pride. Since he had the Divine Fate Stone, the overall strength of the Divine Son of Tianlong was enough to compete with a martial artist with 10 Dao powers. Although the human demon and Zhao Rui were not weak, they would still be weaker than a martial artist with 10 Grand Path powers. Really? However, before Godson Tianlong's right leg landed on the human demon and Zhao Rui, he heard an indifferent voice. I've been waiting for you. Godson Tianlong's real target was obviously Ningyu. Therefore, as soon as he heard Ningyu's words, he immediately gave up on attacking the human demon and Zhao Rui and kicked at Ningyu with his right leg. Kill! Ningyu looked indifferent as he held the mysterious wooden stick and smashed it down. I knew you'd use the mysterious wooden stick. Seeing the mysterious wooden stick coming at him, the Divine Prince of Tianlong quickly stepped aside and retreated. The mysterious wooden stick could even break a heavenly treasure, let alone the right leg of Godson Tianlong. The Godson Tianlong knew his limit. He knew he couldn't withstand the mysterious wooden stick, so he chose to step back. No! As soon as the Godson Tianlong stepped back, Ningyu realized something was wrong. The reason was that Ningyu found that the body of the Godson Tianlong was becoming more and more illusory, luring the tiger away from the mountain. In a blink, Ningyu knew what the Godson Tianlong was up to. He attacked the human demon and Zhao Rui first to attract his attention and make him neglect Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan on the other side. Finally, he used the golden cicada shedding shell to move to the other side to catch Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan. Ningyu looked gloomy. This was his mistake. If the Godson Tianlong succeeded, he would be under the control of the Godson Tianlong. After all, he couldn't leave Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan alone. Swish! Swish! Just as Ningyu was doing his best to return the favor, 2 figures stood out. The Dark Emperor and Ning Lu. They had been protecting Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan. Now that the Godson Tianlong suddenly launched an attack, they had to defend with all their strength. Bang! Bang! However, no matter how much the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu used their trump cards, they were no match for the Godson Tianlong. Without any suspense, the 2 of them flew out on the spot and fell heavily to the ground. Swish! However, although the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu couldn't even withstand one attack, they bought enough time for Ningyu. Ningyu used his speed to the maximum and finally arrived before the Godson Tianlong caught Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan. Go to hell! Ningyu injected his essence qi into the mysterious wooden stick and smashed it at the Godson Tianlong's head. This, Ningyu's attack made the 5-fingered deity, who was hiding in the sky, open his mouth. He felt a great pressure. It was no exaggeration. Even the 5-fingered deity might not be able to withstand Ningyu's attack. I have to get the mysterious wooden stick. The 5-fingered deity's desire to get his hands on the mysterious wooden stick became even stronger. Until now, the 5-fingered deity could basically confirm that the mysterious wooden stick was at least a half-mystic treasure. There were 2 types of half-mystic treasures. One had Xian deity Dharma laws in its body, while the other was as hard as a mystic treasure. Regardless of what sort of situation it might be, the mysterious wooden stick's enticement to the five-fingered immortal was simply unprecedented. However, the five-fingered deity wasn't as stupid as the god Sun Tianlong, so he wouldn't act like a fool. He was stronger than the god Sun Tianlong, so he could see more clearly than the god Sun Tianlong. There were many powerful figures hiding in front of the Thousand Demons Ridge. Why didn't the real big shots make a move? Instead, they let Divine Prince Qianquan and Divine Prince Gui Wu mess around? Apparently, everyone was restraining each other. No one wanted to act rashly without absolute confidence. After all, if they failed, they might end up helping others. No one wanted to do this kind of business that was sure to lose money and no profit. Crack. On the battlefield. At the most dangerous moment, the god Sun Tianlong moved his body slightly and dodged Ning Yu's fatal attack. Chapter 2005. Crack, crack, crack. You're dead. No one in this world can save you. God Prince Tianlong patted his chest with his right hand, and all the broken ribs were reconnected. God Prince Tianlong stared at Ning Yu and said coldly, "This day next year will be the anniversary of your death." As soon as he said that, God Prince Tianlong dashed out again. But this time, there was a flying sword in his hand. A heavenly treasure. There was no doubt that God Prince Tianlong, as the peerless divine prince of the Heaven Secret Sect, would have a heavenly treasure flying sword. With the silver heavenly treasure flying sword in hand, God Prince Tianlong was in high spirits, thinking that he could fight against Ning Yu. However, it turned out that God Prince Tianlong was overthinking. His heavenly treasure flying sword was broken in half as soon as it clashed with Ning Yu's mysterious wooden stick. STTH. This change caused the surrounding martial artists to gasp once again. The second heavenly treasure. By then, the mysterious wooden stick had destroyed two heavenly treasures. By then, the mysterious wooden stick's position in people's hearts had skyrocketed. I want you to die. The destruction of the heavenly treasure flying sword was within God Prince Tianlong's expectations. With a thought, he took out the Tianji stone on the spot. Every martial artist of the Heaven Secret Sect had a Heaven Secret stone. The higher one's status in the Heaven Secret Sect, the more Heaven Secret stones they had and the higher their quality would be. As the peerless divine prince of the Heaven Secret Sect, God Prince Tianlong had 7 Heaven Secret stones in total. Furthermore, the colors of the 7 Heavenly Fortune stones were different. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. Among the 7 colors, the red Heaven Secret stone was the weakest while the purple one was the strongest. Crack. God Prince Tianlong threw the red Heaven Secret stone into his mouth and started chewing. In a blink, the red Heaven Secret stone was swallowed by God Prince Tianlong and completely refined. Buzz. After refining the red Heaven Secret stone, God Prince Tianlong's energy surged again. Although there were still only 9 grand path powers in his body, the strength of the Divine Prince of Tianlong had more than doubled. Go to hell. God Prince Tianlong clenched his right fist and punched at Ning Yu. You won't give up until you're dead. Looking at the fists raining down on him, Ning Yu's face turned cold. He raised the mysterious wooden rod in his hand to meet the fist. Bang! The two collided. This time, what everyone expected did not happen. Divine Prince Tianlong only took a few steps back, and his right fist was still fine. God Prince laughed. The Divine Prince threw his head back and laughed. I was wondering what your broken wooden stick was. Now it seems like it's just a slightly more powerful heavenly treasure. The Divine Prince of Tianlong was very confident. He rushed out again, clenched his right hand into a fist, and fiercely punched the mysterious wooden stick. The Divine Prince's fist wasn't damaged after that attack, so he didn't think the mysterious wooden stick was that powerful. In the second move, the Divine Prince didn't attack Ning Yu, but the mysterious wooden stick. The God. Qin Tian Prince Tian 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 Qin King God. Qin simple. God God. He Prince Tianlong however, dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Ning Yu's face was expressionless as he waved the mysterious wooden stick in his hand again. Crack! Arg! Two sounds were heard. The first one was the sound of bones breaking. The second one was the sound of God Prince Tianlong screaming like a pig being slaughtered. Apparently, God Prince Tianlong was wrong. The reason why he was able to block the first attack of the mysterious wooden stick was entirely because Ning Yu had chosen to hold back and only use 10% of the mysterious wooden stick's strength. After all, there were many powerful cultivators hiding in the sky. Ning Yu didn't want to expose his real strength. 20%. Ning Yu had only used 20% of his power to break God Prince Tianlong's right fist. Even though God Prince Tianlong's right fist was still connected to the bone, it wasn't far from breaking. Heal! God Prince Tianlong didn't give up. He crushed the second divine fate stone and sprinkled the powder on his broken fist. Crack, crack, crack! After a while, God Prince Tianlong's broken fist was completely healed. This is interesting. Ning Yu frowned slightly. He was interested in the remaining heaven fate stones of the divine prince of Tianlong. God Prince Tianlong had used 2 of the 7 divine fate stones, so there were only 5 left. Ning Yu didn't want God Prince Tianlong to squander like this anymore. He decided to take the initiative and get the remaining 5 divine fate stones first. Whoosh! Ning Yu was an impatient person, so he did what he said. His body flashed and, before God Prince Tianlong could react, he had already arrived in front of God Prince Tianlong and smashed the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Oh no! God Prince Tianlong had no choice but to swallow the 3rd divine fate stone with his eyes wide open. After swallowing another divine fate stone, God Prince Tianlong's energy had reached its peak. His body bulged and swelled. Those who didn't know better would think that God Prince Tianlong was going to explode. Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist. The Divine Prince of Tianlong bit his lips and performed the most powerful move he could at the moment. Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist was a fist technique that God Prince Tianlong had learned in a cave. It wasn't called the Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist, but the Heavenly God Divine Fist. There were 3 moves in the Heavenly God Divine Fist. The first move was the Heavenly Tiger Divine Fist. The second move was the Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist. The third move was the Heavenly God Divine Fist. The power of each punch was different. It was no exaggeration to say that this punch from God's son Tianlong was enough to kill a martial artist with 10 great path powers easily. Ning Yu won't be in danger, right? Even Zhao Rui and the human demon were shocked after feeling the terrifying power in God Prince Tianlong's fist. One of them was a sky immortal overlord, and the other was from a powerful force in an advanced realm. Even they felt that this move was terrifying, so one could only imagine how powerful it was. He is indeed the peerless divine prince of the Heaven Fortune sect. This kind of opportunity is indeed enviable. The 5-fingered deity in the sky was shocked. To be honest, even he was a bit jealous of God Prince Tianlong's luck. The 5-fingered deity knew very well that if he mastered the Heavenly God Divine Fist, his combat power would increase by 10%. Of course, the 5-fingered deity's combat power wouldn't increase by 10% now, but when he was at his peak, when I get the mysterious wooden stick, I will take it along with this fist art. The Heavenly God Divine Fist was one more item on the 5-fingered deity's list. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist is just like a chicken or a dog in front of me. Ning Yu snorted coldly and increased his strength again. From the previous 20%, it became 30%. How powerful would an attack with 30% of his strength be? In a blink of an eye, Ning Yu held the mysterious wooden stick and dashed forward. Ha ha ha, it's useless. Even a sky immortal might not be able to withstand my Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist. The Divine Prince looked at Ning Yu and laughed. However, Tianlong Divine Prince's laughter stopped abruptly before he could even finish. Chapter 2006. Bang. Ningyu put away the mysterious wooden stick, looked at God's son Tianlong and said, "Nothing is impossible." Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. I must be hallucinating. God's son Tianlong looked down at his swollen fist and roared like a madman, "I'm going to turn you into ashes." God's son Tianlong had already lost his mind. Indeed, the Sky Dragon Divine Fist was very powerful. God's son Tianlong could use it to kill a martial artist with 10 grand Dao powers. However, such a terrifying Sky Dragon Divine Fist was easily blocked by Ningyu's mysterious wooden stick. God's son Tianlong thought he had overestimated the mysterious wooden stick, but it seemed that he had underestimated its power. Sky God Fist. God's son Tianlong decided to use the third punch, the Sky God Fist, regardless of the condition of his body. Originally, it would have been difficult for God's son Tianlong to use the Sky God Fist. However, God's son Tianlong had made up his mind. He burned his blood essence, life force, essence chi, and soul power. All in all, God's son Tianlong was using the Sky God Fist at all costs. Rumble. Compared to the Sky Dragon Divine Fist, the Sky God Fist was at least twice as powerful. Suddenly, the void trembled and waves of energy waves spread. Gasp! Feeling the terrifying energy from God's son Tianlong's fist, the human demon, Zhao Rui, and even the five-fingered deity, who was hiding in the void, couldn't help but gasp. Terrifying. Extremely terrifying. God's son Tianlong's punch, in a sense, already had the ability to threaten a Sky Immortal. Sky Immortal Dharma Laws. Real Sky Immortals didn't just go through the Sky Immortal tribulation. It could be said that every single heavenly immortal realm expert possessed one or a few heavenly immortal laws. The difference between Sky Immortal laws and Grand Dao powers was that Grand Dao powers had to be transformed into Sky Immortal laws. Besides, not every Grand Dao power could be transformed into Sky Immortal laws, so there were many steps to go through. The Sky Dragon Divine Fist is so terrifying. I must get it no matter what. The five-fingered immortal, who was in the void, was so excited that he nearly showed himself. After all, the shock that the Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist gave him was too great. It was even greater than the shock that the mysterious wooden stick in Ningyu's hand gave him. I wonder if the mysterious wood can withstand the punch of God's son Tianlong this time. The five-fingered immortal shifted his gaze toward the battlefield. Ningyu looked serious. After all, he could see the terrifying power of God's son Tianlong's punch. If he did not use the mysterious wooden stick, it could be said that Ningyu would not be able to block the attack of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist. The current situation was that Ningyu had no choice but to use the mysterious wooden stick and increase its power from 30% to 50%. Because only in this way could Ningyu block the attack of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Fist with 100% certainty. The power of law. God's son Tianlong continued to roar. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched toward Ningyu's head with a terrifying essence chi wind. A punch without the power of law was already enough to make Ningyu's head explode. One could only imagine how powerful a punch with the power of law would be. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death, God's son Tianlong said as he rushed toward Ningyu. In the blink of an eye, God's son Tianlong appeared next to Ningyu and punched Ningyu's head with the power of law. Ha ha ha, this time, your head won't. God's son Tianlong raised his head and laughed crazily as soon as he punched. However, the divine prince of Tianlong stopped halfway through his laughter. There was only one reason. Ningyu had used the mysterious wooden stick. Even though God's son Tianlong was very confident, he couldn't help but want to retreat under the power of the mysterious wooden stick. However, for God's son Tianlong, the arrow was already on the bow and he had to release it. God's son Tianlong didn't think too much. His right fist collided with the mysterious wooden stick. Crack! The result of the collision was just as everyone had expected. God's son Tianlong's body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. Bang! God's son Tianlong was at a complete disadvantage in this fight with Ningyu. Swallow it! God's son Tianlong didn't give up. He took out the remaining 4 divine fate stones and tried to swallow them all. Oh no! God's son Tianlong's action made Ningyu's expression change. Ningyu knew very well how powerful the divine fate stones in God's son Tianlong's body were. God's son Tianlong had swallowed 3 divine fate stones and his power had increased a lot. If he were to devour the remaining 4 heaven fortune stones, to what extent would his strength increase? In Ningyu's opinion, he would at least be able to compete with the mysterious wooden stick. The divine fate stones are a complete waste in your hands. Give them to me. With that thought, Ningyu rushed out again with the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Ningyu was determined to get the 4 divine fate stones in God's son Tianlong's hands. Whoosh! However, Ningyu's expression changed before he reached God's son Tianlong. That was because he saw that the sky next to the divine prince of Tianlong suddenly cracked open and an old man came out of it. The 5-fingered deity. There was no doubt that the old man who came out of the void was the 5-fingered deity. Ningyu knew how terrifying the divine fate stones were, and so did the 5-fingered deity. The 5-fingered deity's idea was simple. First, he would get the divine fate stones from God's son Tianlong, then he would devour God's son Tianlong's memory and master the cultivation method of the heavenly God fist. Finally, he would find a chance to control Ningyu and obtain the mysterious wooden stick. Of course, the 5-fingered deity wouldn't force Ningyu if he couldn't control him. After all, there were many powerful figures watching from the void. The goal of the powerful figure in the void was clear. He didn't want the divine fate stones or the cultivation method of the heavenly God fist. He only wanted the mysterious wooden stick in Ningyu's hand. Humph! You want to take the divine fate stones from me? Let's see if you have what it takes. Ningyu was not a soft persimmon that anyone could bully. On the contrary, he was very confident with the mysterious wooden stick in his hand. Although the 5-fingered deity was a few times more powerful than God's son Tianlong, Ningyu still rushed forward without hesitation. Humph! You overestimate yourself. The 5-fingered deity snorted as he sensed Ningyu rushing toward him. Wait for me to finish off God's son Tianlong first. Later. No. However, before the 5-fingered deity could finish his words, his eyes widened as if he had discovered something unbelievable. He didn't notice anything because he was too far away from Ningyu. But now, he was very close to Ningyu. Chapter 2007. You stole my 5 fingers alchemy cauldron and destroyed my 5 fingers divine elixir. The 5-fingered deity stared at Ningyu with his eyes wide open. He was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He had thought that Tianlong was the culprit. Who would have thought that the culprit was still Ningyu? Under such circumstances, the 5-fingered deity was naturally enraged. However, although the 5 fingers immortal was furious, he did not have the time to find Ningyu to settle the debt. After all, his target was the 4 divine fate stones in Tianlong's hands. I'll deal with you later. The 5-fingered deity glanced at Ningyu and clenched his right hand into a fist. He punched toward divine Prince Tianlong's head with a raging essence chi. Bang! The 5-fingered deity's punch was extremely powerful. Even though Tianlong tried his best to block it, he was still unable to block the fatal punch. A crisp sound was heard. Then, God's son Tianlong's head exploded on the spot, and blood splattered everywhere. They're all mine. The 5-fingered deity used his terrifying soul energy to devour Tianlong's memories. At the same time, he clenched his right fist and grabbed the 4 divine fate stones that were falling to the ground. He had devoured Tianlong's memories to obtain the cultivation method of the heavenly God fist. The 5-fingered deity was not a fool. He knew that he would only be the biggest winner if both sides attacked at the same time. How could there be such a good thing in this world? Ning Yu's cold voice was heard as the five-fingered deity was about to grab the divine fate stones. Swoosh! The mysterious wooden stick in Ning Yu's hand was like a sharp flying sword that slashed at the five-fingered deity's palm. It was obvious that the five-fingered deity's palm would be broken if he was hit by the stick. Damn it! Helpless, the five-fingered immortal cursed in his heart and gave up on the fight for the heavenly fate stone. The reason why the five-fingered immortal had given up on the heaven fate stone wasn't because he was afraid of Ningyu, but because he had sensed a few powerful auras in the air a moment ago. There was no suspense. If he dared to snatch the heaven secret stone from Ningyu, the cultivators hidden in the void would definitely make their move. I'll settle the score with you after we enter the myriad demon ridge. After giving up on the fight for the divine fate stone, the five-fingered immortal quickly devoured all of the heaven dragon god's memories. He left behind some harsh words before disappearing into the void. Who? Seeing the five-fingered immortal disappear, Ningyu could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Truth be told, even though Ningyu was wielding the mysterious wooden stick, he still felt immense pressure when facing the five-fingered immortal. If Divine Sun Tianlong had one Sky Immortal Dharma Law, then five-fingered immortal would have at least 3 or even 5 Sky Immortal Dharma Laws. Whoosh! Keeping the Heaven's Fate Stone, Ningyu leaped up to the human devil's side. Ningyu did not beat around the bush and asked directly, Senior Human Devil, can you use the Sky Immortal Dharma Laws? The human devil shook his head and said, I can only use 6 great Tao powers now. When I can use 10 great Tao powers, I should be able to unlock 1 Sky Immortal Dharma Law. I see. Ningyu frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. He had originally thought that with the mysterious wooden stick, his strength could be ranked in the top 3 in the Myriad Demon Ridge, or at least in the top 5. However, it seemed that he had been overthinking things. His current overall strength could contend with a cultivator with 10 great Tao powers, or he could even kill one with ease. However, it would be much more strenuous for him to face an expert with Sky Immortal Dharma Laws. Perhaps the mysterious wooden stick had not been completely unsealed, so it could not unleash its full strength yet. However, all of this had nothing to do with the current Ningyu. What he had to face were the super experts with 10 great Tao powers and Sky Immortal Dharma Laws. After entering the Myriad Demon Ridge, I have to think of a way to get a few more great Tao powers. Ningyu immediately sat down cross-legged and began cultivating. Since everything that needed to be done was done, what he had to do next was to quietly wait for the Myriad Demon Ridge to open. As for Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan, Ningyu secretly sent a soul message to them, asking them to temporarily cultivate like him. At this time, it was a competition of endurance, a competition of who could keep their composure. Ningyu knew that someone was watching him, and he also knew that this area had formed a crucial balance point. Now, everyone was waiting for someone to break this balance point. Of course, unless it was an unparalleled expert, no one would dare to break this balance point. Because once someone broke the balance, then that person would instantly become the target of everyone's attack, the target of everyone's crusade. Drip, drip. Time passed by the minute and second. The experts who had just avoided the battle gradually returned to the front of the Myriad Demon Ridge, each occupying a small area. After Ning Yu's disturbance, the originally noisy front of the Myriad Demon Ridge became very quiet. It was so quiet that one could even hear the sound of breathing. Divine Sun Tianlong is indeed the peerless divine son of the Heaven Fortune sect. His Heaven Fortune stone is indeed different. Although Ning Yu was cultivating in secret, that was not the case. His attention had already been focused on the storage ring, and he had begun to check the 4 Heaven Fortune stones of Divine Sun Tianlong. There were 7 colors of Heaven Fortune stones: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. The first 3 colors had already been used by Divine Sun Tianlong. The remaining 4 colors were lost under the joint attack of Ning Yu and the five-fingered immortal before Divine Sun Tianlong could use them. If I devour these 4 heaven fortune stones, my combat power should increase by a few times. Ningyu was very clear about this. Originally, the mysterious wooden stick was his trump card. Now, the 4 heaven fortune stones in the storage ring had become his trump card. Let's erase the mark on them first. Ningyu didn't celebrate too early. With a thought, he used his soul power to erase the imprints on the 4 heaven fate stones. Fortunately, Divine Sun Tian Long had already been killed. Even his primordial spirit and memory were not spared. Otherwise, Ningyu would have to go through a lot of trouble to erase the mark on the heaven fortune stones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After around 3 minutes, with 4 sizzling sounds, Ningyu had completely erased the mark on the heaven fortune stones. In other words, Ningyu could now use these 4 heaven fortune stones without any worries. Rumble. As soon as Ningyu erased the mark on the heaven fortune stones, the seal of the myriad demon ridge let out a rumbling sound. Everyone, attack the seal together. We must break the seal within 3 hours. Along with the rumbling sound, a deep voice could be heard. This, even though Ningyu was prepared, his pupils couldn't help but constrict when he heard the powerful voice. His expression became extremely solemn. Chapter 2008. Could it be that the plane barrier of the immortal spirit realm has completely shattered? Ningyu was shocked, and his face was solemn to the extreme. Due to the existence of the plane barrier, it was impossible for sky immortals to descend into the immortal spirit realm. Apart from sky immortals, those who had yet to become sky immortals but possessed many sky immortal laws couldn't descend into the immortal spirit realm either. However, Ningyu was almost certain that the martial artist who made the noise had at least 5 or even 8 sky immortal laws. No wonder the 5-fingered immortal didn't dare to cause trouble. Ningyu frowned slightly as he shielded Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan behind him. If necessary, Ningyu would let them enter the storage ring. After all, the Myriad Demon's Ridge was extremely dangerous, and his father Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan weren't very strong. It could be said that letting Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge was sending them to their death. Rumble. Just as Ningyu was pondering, the crowd in front of the Myriad Demon's Ridge began to attack the seal in a frenzy. Everyone had gathered here from all over the place with only one goal, and that was to enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge and fight for the opportunity. There was only one way to enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge, and that was to work together to break the seal. Otherwise, no one would be able to enter. What should we do? The human demon asked with a frown as he watched the surrounding martial artists attack the seal. Ningyu thought for a moment before saying, "Attack, but do your best to preserve your strength." Ningyu wasn't a hothead. He wasn't going to oppose everyone, but he wasn't going to attack the seal with all his might. Right now, he was the focus of many experts, and the mysterious wooden stick in his hand made many salivate. If he expended too much strength before entering the Myriad Demon's Ridge, he might not even be able to enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge. Of course, since he had decided to attack, Ningyu might as well explain everything. His parents, Ning Hai and Mu Yunshan, all entered the storage ring. Zhao Heng and a few other martial artists also entered the storage ring. That was to say, on Ningyu's side, only Human Demon, Zhao Rui, Dark Emperor, and Ning Lu's group were left. The reason why Ningyu chose to keep them was because they had the ability to protect themselves. Needless to say, Human Demon and Zhao Rui were both extremely powerful. Although he could not contend against a cultivator with 10 strands of great Tao energy, he could still contend against and even kill a cultivator with 9 strands of great Tao energy. As for the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu, they were not very strong. They could fight against warriors with the power of 6 great Taos. Take these Heaven's Fate Stones. After much consideration, Ningyu finally decided to give the Heaven Fate Stone to the human demons. He had the mysterious wooden rod in his hand, and if he encountered an expert who possessed the laws of a heavenly immortal, he would at least be able to contend against them. As for the human devil and the others, once they encountered an expert that possessed a heavenly immortal law, only death awaited them. Therefore, Ningyu gave them the Tianji stone after careful consideration. I don't need it. However, to Ningyu's surprise, Zhao Rui did not ask for the Heaven Fate stone. Since Zhao Rui did not want it, Ningyu naturally would not force her. After all, he needed the Heaven Fate stone too. After distributing the Heaven Fate stones, Ningyu charged out and began attacking the seal in front of the 10,000 Demons Ridge. The human demon and Zhao Rui did not stay idle either. They followed behind Ningyu and began attacking the seal. They really think highly of me. Although Ningyu seemed to be attacking the seal with all his might, he was actually paying close attention to his surroundings. Moreover, with Ningyu's extremely keen perception, he could naturally notice that there were a total of 5 martial artists' attention fixed on him. 5 cultivators, each of them was no weaker than the 5-fingered immortal. Interesting. When we enter the 10,000 Demons Ridge, the 2 of you will be in charge of following Ningyu. Once you have the chance, snatch the mysterious wooden rod from him. In the void, the cultivator who spoke with a deep voice earlier grinned and said calmly, "Buzz." The only response he got was a trembling sound from the space beside him. Drip, drip, drip. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, 3 hours had passed. Crack. With everyone's concerted efforts, the seal in front of the 10,000 Demons Ridge finally broke. Charge. All the treasures inside are mine. You better get lost. My talent and strength are higher than yours. The treasures inside the 10,000 Demons Ridge should belong to me. Humph. Both of you are trash. A mere half-step heavenly immortal with no great path energy dares to behave atrociously here. As soon as the seal broke, all the cultivators in front of the 10,000 Demons Ridge rushed out. They were afraid that they would not be able to enter the 10,000 Demons Ridge if they were too late. The cave entrance was only so big. There had to be an order of arrival. Therefore, the first batch of cultivators who rushed to the cave entrance began to fight. In just a few seconds, dozens of cultivators had died in front of the myriad Demon Ridge's cave entrance. Although they knew that it was very dangerous ahead, some cultivators with low cultivation still charged forward without fear of death. After all, in front of a great opportunity, everyone wanted to risk their lives. As long as they were lucky enough to enter the 10,000 Demons Ridge, they would have a great chance to obtain the Great Path energy and become a heavenly immortal. Ha ha ha, I'm going in first. Humph. Don't fight with me. I'll kill whoever fights with me. So what if you guys enter the 10,000 Demons Ridge? You're still trash. The chaotic battle continued. As there were many cultivators, after a few minutes of chaotic battle, someone finally began to break into the 10,000 Demons Ridge. Moreover, as time passed, more and more cultivators entered the 10,000 Demons Ridge. Half an hour later, dozens of cultivators entered the 10,000 Demons Ridge. Should we go in? Seeing so many people entering the 10,000 Demons Ridge, the Dark Emperor's eyes shone as he looked at Ningyu and asked, "Silly." Ningyu glared at the Dark Emperor and said in a deep voice, "Didn't you notice? Until now, no cultivator with great path energy has entered the 10,000 Demons Ridge." This. Hearing Ningyu's reprimanding words, coupled with the Dark Emperor looking at the many cultivators in the chaotic battle, he could not help opening his mouth slightly, stunned on the spot. Ningyu was right. Until now, most of the cultivators who entered the 10,000 Demons Ridge were around peak half-step heavenly immortal. All the cultivators with great path energy were all watching. No one wanted to enter the 10,000 Demons Ridge a step earlier. "Ningyu, what did you see?" Zhao Rui's brows furrowed tightly as she asked. "If I didn't guess wrongly, these people are all cannon fodder." Ningyu looked at the cave entrance in front of the 10,000 Demons Ridge and said in a deep voice, "To be precise, this cave entrance is not the entrance to the 10,000 Demons Ridge, but roar." Chapter 2009. Hearing the roars coming from the cave, Ning Yu's expression changed as he said in a low voice, "Hell on earth!" Following Ning Yu's words, the expressions of all the martial artists in the area changed. "Not good, retreat! Leave quickly. If you stay any longer, you might be killed. We have to hurry." Poochie. In front of the 10,000 Demon Ridge, everyone was in a mess. Many martial artists retreated, scrambling to get away from the cave entrance. However, it was too late for them to retreat now. Crack, crack. The originally incomparably sturdy cave entrance collapsed in an instant. Some martial artists who could not retreat in time were smashed by the huge rocks and screamed in pain. In just a short time, dozens of martial artists died under the huge rock. Using the term hell on earth to describe the situation was probably the most appropriate. What is going on? The Dark Emperor's mouth was slightly agape. He was already extremely shocked. In fact, the Dark Emperor was a little scared. If not for Ning Yu stopping him in time, he would have followed everyone into the cave. The Dark Emperor was not stupid. He could naturally tell that the real danger was still behind. Let's take a look first. Ning Yu did not answer the Dark Emperor's words. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at the void in the distance with interest. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Big move. Honestly speaking, Ning Yu was a little surprised. According to his understanding, the 10,000 Demon Ridge was the most mysterious place in the immortal spirit realm. If it was so easy to enter, the 10,000 Demon Ridge would have been broken long ago. Why would they wait until now? The reason why Ning Yu was surprised was because he was starting to see some clues. Those so-called experts were using these stupid people to carry out a blood sacrifice. Simply put, they were using these people as cannon fodder to break the true seal of the 10,000 Demon Ridge. Of course, since they were used as cannon fodder, it meant that the real plan had only just begun. Retreat. Just as he was thinking, Ning Yu seemed to have discovered something terrifying. He grabbed the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu and retreated hurriedly. Seeing this, Zhao Rui and the human demon did not have the time to think and hurriedly followed behind Ning Yu. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. As expected, just as Ning Yu and human demon took a few steps back, several giant beams of light shot out from where they had been standing. These light pillars were about as thick as a person's waist, and each of them contained extremely terrifying energy fluctuations. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, several beams of light shot out from the distance. These pillars of light all had one thing in common. The energy fluctuations they contained were enough to make a cultivator with the power of the great Tao suffer a grievance. Looks like my guess was right. Ning Yu sighed softly. At the same time, he became even more vigilant. Since it was purgatory on earth, it should look like purgatory on earth. What kind of purgatory was it to simply kill ordinary martial artists? If he wanted to trap and kill, then he would trap and kill all the martial artists who possessed the power of the great Tao. What are you doing? According to the agreement, you can't kill us. We agreed before that we would only trap and kill those martial artists with low cultivation. As for us, we will enter the myriad demons ridge together. Some of the experts who didn't manage to escape in time became terrified. Under the huge formation, what kind of storm could these martial artists stir up? After all, no matter how strong they were, they only had the power of the great Tao. Under the encirclement of so many powerful beams of light, even if they resisted, they would only die. If you can contribute to breaking the seal, I will remember your kindness. A powerful voice suddenly came from the void. Then, the surrounding light pillars began to shrink, mercilessly slaughtering the martial artists who were trapped. Ah, my eyes can't see. You will die a horrible death. Why me? I have an 80-year-old mother and a child waiting to be fed. Humph. If you trap and kill me today, my master will definitely avenge me in the future. All kinds of screams and screams were heard one after another. At this time, even Ningyu could not help but feel sad and indignant. To kill so many martial artists at once, to be honest, Ningyu's already serious face became even more serious. For the first time, he felt like he was a fish on the chopping block, a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. If not for the mysterious wooden stick on him, and the martial artists in the void around him were keeping each other in check, he would have died long ago. Once I enter the myriad demons' ridge, I have to think of a way to get rid of them. Ningyu secretly made up his mind. As long as he entered the myriad demons' ridge, he had to think of all ways to escape. Otherwise, he would definitely become someone's captive. If he was a captive, he would become a slave or a lackey, or he would be refined into a puppet and killed on the spot. Ningyu did not want to end up like that. Therefore, he secretly winked at the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu beside him, as if he was asking for their opinion. Now that things had come to this, Ning Yu's idea was very simple. If the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu were willing, he would respect their opinion and let them choose whether or not to enter the storage ring. After all, he was the target of the surrounding martial artists. It would not be appropriate to let the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu enter the storage ring. After all, even he was not very confident that he could escape the pursuit of so many powerful martial artists. Let's go together. We can look after each other. The Dark Emperor and Ning Lu naturally knew what Ningyu meant. However, they did not want to be separated from Ningyu. First of all, they were on very good terms with Ningyu. They had fought alongside him many times. Second of all, staying with Ningyu was probably the safest option. Rumble. In an instant, another terrifying rumble was heard. Then, a martial artist suddenly leaped out and hovered in midair. Absorb. The martial artist took out a golden gourd and yelled at the ground. Whoosh! Instantly, an extremely powerful devouring force swept out from the gourd and began its journey of devouring. Ningyu raised his eyebrows when he saw the golden gourd. To be honest, Ningyu was not interested in the martial artist with the golden gourd because he only had 5 powers of the Great Path. What surprised Ningyu was the golden gourd. According to Ningyu's observation, the level of the golden gourd was much higher than the demon god Sun's demon god gourd. Oh right. Ningyu suddenly thought of someone when he thought of the demon god gourd. He clearly remembered that the demon god restaurant's demon Tua also came out to fight against him not long ago. At that time, he only cared about dealing with Divine Sun Gui Wu of the Yin Ghost sect, Divine Sun Yuanba of the Primordial Demon sect, Divine Sun Yihong of the Sacred Divine Palace, and Divine Sun Qian Kuan of the God Transformation sect. Chapter 2010. The Fiend Restaurant is worth paying attention to. Ningyu frowned slightly. For the first time, he began to pay attention to the Fiend Restaurant. After all, the fact that the demonic Buddha Divine Sun was able to escape under the powerful perception of him, human demon, and the others showed that the demonic Buddha Divine Sun had some skills. In view of the demonic Buddha Divine Sun's magical performance, Ningyu began to think more highly of the Fiend Restaurant. While Ningyu was pondering, the screams, cries for help, and curses around him gradually weakened. Obviously, the golden gourd had played a crucial role. Almost all the warriors were swallowed by the terrifying devouring power that shot out of the golden gourd. At this point, there were only a few people left in the entire area. Open! This situation lasted for about a few minutes. Finally, the warriors in midair suddenly threw the golden gourd to the ground. Rumble! The golden gourd turned into a meteor and drilled into the ground in the blink of an eye. Not long after, an earth-shattering noise suddenly came from the ground. Rumble! Soon after, the entire area began to shake. Get ready! Ningyu stared ahead and said in a deep voice, Once the Myriad Demon's Ridge is broken, we must go there immediately. There were many warriors who had the same idea as Ningyu. At the very least, no one wanted to be the last to enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge. It was different now. Those who entered the Myriad Demon's Ridge earlier were just cannon fodder. It made no difference whether they entered the Myriad Demon's Ridge earlier or later. However, if they could enter the Myriad Demon's Ridge earlier, their chances of obtaining opportunities would be greater. Everyone came here to obtain opportunities. If they could enter earlier, they must do so earlier. Crack. Fortunately, the Golden Gourd had swallowed too many warriors. The earth-shattering rumble only lasted for a few minutes before it completely disappeared. Then, a crisp cracking sound was heard, as if something had been broken. Go! Ningyu had been waiting for this moment for a long time. The moment the crack rang out, his figure flashed, and he was the first to rush out. Behind him, the Dark Emperor, Ning Lu, the human demon, and Zhao Rui followed closely behind Ningyu without any hesitation. Go, you must follow Ningyu, but don't be the first to attack. Follow Ningyu. We can't let anyone else get the mysterious wooden stick. Whoever dares to snatch the mysterious wooden stick will be killed by me. Seeing Ningyu and the Dark Emperor rush into the Myriad Devil Ridge, the souls of the big shots hidden in the void surged and began to issue orders. Their primary objective was to enter the depths of the Myriad Demon Ridge to obtain fortuitous opportunities, not to chase after Ningyu. However, they did not want the mysterious wooden stick to fall into the hands of others. This was a typical mentality of, if I can't get it, you can't get it either. Hence, these bosses began to instruct their subordinates to keep a close eye on Ningyu's movement. Ningyu didn't know about these things. At this moment, he had already charged into the Myriad Devil Ridge. Black. Pitch black. Abnormally pitch black. The moment he entered the Myriad Demon Ridge, Ningyu felt as if he had entered an incomparably dark and bottomless pit. He kept falling down. Fortunately, this kind of falling did not last for too long. After a few minutes, it stopped. Where is this? Ningyu opened his eyes with difficulty and wanted to use Yuan Qi to illuminate his surroundings. However, he was shocked to discover that no matter how hard he tried, he could not illuminate his surroundings. Oh right, where are the Dark Emperor and the rest? Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly used his perception to contact the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu. However, even though Ningyu used all his perception and soul power, he still could not find the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu. In other words, he had lost contact with the Dark Emperor and the rest. Ningyu's expression turned extremely grave. The human demon and Zhao Rui were still alright. The two of them had formidable strength. Ningyu was not particularly worried. But the Dark Emperor and Ning Lu were different. First of all, the two of their strengths were not particularly formidable. And most importantly, the two of their identities were very special. One was the purple gold heaven-swallowing hound, the sovereign of the heaven-swallowing hound clan. The other was the world tree, one of the most terrifying things in the world. If their traces were discovered by someone with ulterior motives, the consequences would really be too ghastly to imagine. Better pass through this incomparably pitch-black road first before talking. Drawing a deep breath, Ningyu started advancing. No matter what, leaving this place first was always the right thing to do. At first, Ningyu thought that this incomparably pitch-black road was not considered too long. But as he advanced continuously, he discovered that he was wrong. Furthermore, he was ridiculously wrong. According to his estimation, since he started setting off until now, roughly an hour had already passed. An hour was not considered long, but it was not short either. At the very least, according to Ningyu's speed, an hour was sufficient for him to walk a very long distance. Ningyu frowned slightly but ultimately still chose to continue advancing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time was ticking away. As he continued advancing, Ningyu discovered that his surroundings had turned from pitch black to a faint light. Although this light was very weak, Ningyu believed that as long as he continued to move forward, he would definitely find something ahead. The situation did not last long. After another hour, Ningyu finally walked out of the incomparably pitch-black area. Origin Hall? As soon as he walked out of the pitch-black area, Ning Yu's mouth was slightly agape and his face was filled with astonishment. This was because he discovered that there was a huge palace towering not far ahead of him. Above the palace there were 3 big words, Origin Hall. Ning Yu looked around the Origin Hall and realized that there was only one hall within a radius of a few hundred miles. As for the rest of the area, not to mention things, not even a tree could be seen. Why is there a palace towering here? Am I seeing things? Ning Yu slightly furrowed his brows, feeling a little puzzled. Haha, you're not seeing things. There is indeed a palace in front of you. As soon as Ning Yu voiced his doubts, he heard a sneer in his ear. Upon hearing that, Ning Yu turned to look. In front of him, there was a group of martial artists walking side by side towards him. It's you guys. Ning Yu was very familiar with the few warriors in the lead. It could be said that he was extremely familiar with them. The one in the lead was the peerless godchild of the ancient demon sect, Gu Shensi, whose clone he had destroyed. As for the young man next to Gu Shensi, he was the demonic godchild of the Devil's Restaurant. Enemies were bound to meet. It was true that enemies were bound to meet. Not long ago, Ning Yu was still thinking about the demonic godchild. He did not expect the demonic godchild to deliver himself to him. Yes, it's us. Chapter 2011. Demonic Buddha Divine Son, I didn't expect to meet you again. Ning Yu didn't look at Gu Shensi. Instead, he looked at the demonic Buddha Divine Son. Ning Yu knew very well. When he killed Gu Shensi's clone, he had also destroyed Gu Shensi's 4 great path powers. Therefore, even though Gu Shensi was arrogant toward him now, he was no threat to him at all. On the contrary, demonic Buddha Divine Son gave him an unfathomable feeling. Ning Yu sensed a trace of the sky immortal law from the demonic Buddha Divine Son. To be precise, facing the demonic Buddha Divine Son, Ning Yu had the illusion of facing the 5-fingered immortal. Does the demonic Buddha Divine Son have something to do with the 5-fingered immortal? Ning Yu frowned. He always felt that the demonic Buddha Divine Son in front of him was not simple. He was very mysterious. Yeah, I thought you would die at the entrance of the Myriad Demon's Ridge last time. Who would have thought that I would see you here? The demonic Buddha Divine Son seemed to have no grudge against Ning Yu. He sighed and said, It's your fortune that you can come to the Origin Divine Palace. Well, you're lucky this time. I'll allow you to enter the Origin Divine Palace with me. Demonic Buddha Divine Son, who gave you the courage? Before Ning Yu could answer the demonic Buddha Divine Son, Gu Shensi next to him scolded him. Noisy. The demonic Buddha Divine Son didn't look at Gu Shensi. Instead, he clenched his right fist and punched. Chi. The demonic Buddha Divine Son's punch seemed ordinary, but it became more and more powerful as it moved forward. The void trembled and a huge crack appeared in the space. In the blink of an eye, the demonic Buddha Divine Son's punch appeared in front of Gu Shensi's head. Crack! A crisp sound was heard. Then Gu Shensi's head exploded on the spot. Blood and flesh flew everywhere. Hiss! The demonic Buddha Divine Son's sudden movement caused the expressions of the several cultivators behind Gu Shensi to change drastically. They couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. They clearly remembered how humble the demonic Buddha Divine Son had been when he first met Gu Shensi. They were very puzzled as to why Divine Son Mo Tual would change his attitude in such a short time. Could it be thinking of this, they shifted their gaze to Ning Yu. It was undeniable that the person who made the demonic Buddha Divine Son kill the ancient Divine Son was probably Ning Yu. Brother Ning, I wonder if you are satisfied? After killing Gu Shensi, the demonic Buddha Divine Son turned to look at Ning Yu and asked, "SOSO?" Although Ning Yu was a little shocked by Divine Son Mo Tuo's actions, Ning Yu did not let down his guard. At the very least, Ning Yu would not have a conflict with Divine Son Mo Tuo before he had a clear understanding of the specific situation in the Myriad Demon's Ridge. Ning Yu's thinking was very simple. He wanted to learn about the situation in the entire myriad demon ridge from Mo to a divine sun. It seems that Brother Ning is not very satisfied. Hearing Ning Yu's words, the corners of Godchild Mo Tuo's lips curled up slightly. After that, he stomped his feet on the ground and dashed out once more. Puff, 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 puff. This time, Divine Sun Mo Tu moved very quickly. In just a few seconds, he killed all the cultivators who came with Gu Shensi. Clap, clap, clap. Ningyu clapped his hands and said, "Good courage. Now can you tell me your real purpose?" As the saying goes, there must be something wrong with something abnormal. Since Divine Sun Mo Ta had killed Gu Shensi, it meant that he had something important to discuss with him. As for what Divine Sun Mo Ta wanted to discuss with him, Ningyu guessed that Divine Sun Mo Ta wanted to enter the Origin Creation Palace with him. Sure enough, Divine Sun Mo Ta first shot out a flame from his sleeve and burned the bodies of Gu Shensi and the rest of the cultivators. Then, he said faintly, "I want you to enter the Origin Creation Palace with me." Ningyu looked at Divine Sun Mo Ta and did not speak. Because Ningyu knew that Divine Sun Mo Ta would continue to speak. "You must have just entered the Myriad Demon's Ridge, so you don't know what the Origin Creation Palace means." Divine Sun Mo Ta explained, "In the Myriad Demon's Ridge, a palace like the Origin Creation Palace is a third-grade creation." Third-grade creation? Ningyu was shocked. There must be a second-grade creation, a first-grade creation, and even a special-grade creation. What is the third-grade creation? Ningyu tried to ask calmly. Divine Sun Mo Ta looked at Ningyu and said, "To be precise, the Origin Creation Palace is the hall where celestial immortals live." Ningyu frowned and looked at Divine Sun Mo Ta in confusion. In the past, because of the existence of the plane barrier, it was difficult for even a human immortal to appear in the celestial spirit realm, let alone a celestial immortal. Even if the plane barrier was completely loosened now, it was impossible for a real celestial immortal to descend. Since no celestial immortal could descend, how could there be a celestial immortal hall? Haha, you may not know what the Myriad Demon's Ridge means. Divine Sun Mo Ta smiled and continued, "In ancient times, the Myriad Demon's Ridge was not only an ancient battlefield, but also a passageway to a high-level plane. Here, not to mention the Celestial Immortal Hall, even the Mystic Immortal Hall and the Golden Immortal Hall could appear." The Golden Immortal Hall. Ning Yu's expression changed slightly. Above the Celestial Immortal was the Mystic Immortal, and above the Mystic Immortal was the Golden Immortal. Ning Yu knew the ability of a Celestial Immortal. Celestial Immortals were especially strong, so one could imagine how powerful the Mystic Immortal and Golden Immortal above the Celestial Immortal were. How about it? Are you interested in entering the Origin Creation Palace with me? Divine Sun Mo Ta was very satisfied with Ning Yu's reaction. He said temptingly, "With our strength, let alone the Celestial Immortal Hall, even if we encounter the Mystic Immortal Hall or the Golden Immortal Hall in the future, we can still give it a try." Could the second-grade creation be the Mystic Immortal Hall? Ningyu asked, not answering the Divine Sun Mo Tuo's question directly. Divine Sun Mo Ta shook his head and continued to explain. The Mystic Immortal Hall and the Golden Immortal Hall have basically developed spiritual intelligence. It's very difficult for us to discover their existence alone. The so-called second-grade creation is the deeper power of the Great Path. At this point, Divine Sun Mo Ta paused for a moment and then continued. As for the first-grade creation, I'm afraid we can only explore it when we reach the deepest place. Let's go to the Origin Creation Palace first. Ningyu seemed to be moved by Divine Sun Mo Tuo's words. He immediately stomped on the ground and rushed toward the Origin Creation Palace, which was not far away. Seeing Ningyu's back, the corners of Divine Sun Mo Tuo's mouth curled up unnaturally. "Haha, as long as you enter the Origin Creation Palace with me, do you think you can escape from me?" Divine Son Mo Tuo smiled, and his expression gradually changed. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely discover that Divine Son Mo Tuo was none other than the five-fingered deity who had a grudge against him before. A native expert of the immortal spirit realm should be able to refine an excellent elixir. The five-fingered deity's appearance changed again, and he became Divine Son Mo Tuo. Chapter 2012. In front of the Origin Creation Palace, Ningyu stared at the magnificent palace in front of him in a daze. Although Ningyu knew that the Origin Creation Hall wasn't ordinary, he was still shocked by its grandeur when he looked at it from such a close distance. Mid-stage Heaven Immortal. Ningyu could conclude that the master of the Origin Creation Palace was at least a mid-stage Heaven Immortal. Origin Creation Immortal was at the peak of the mid-stage Heaven Immortal when he was alive. As if he had seen through Ningyu's doubts, God Son Mo Tuo explained. "Tell me, what do you want me to do?" Ningyu collected his thoughts and said calmly. Since God Son Mo Tuo had chosen to cooperate with him, it meant that he couldn't break the Origin Creation Palace with his own strength. Otherwise, how could God Son Mo Tuo have kept him here? According to Ningyu's guess, God Son Mo Tuo had originally chosen to cooperate with ancient God Son. However, when God Son Mo Tuo saw him, he instantly changed his mind and decided to cooperate with him. After all, his strength was much higher than ancient God Son's. Actually, it's nothing much. I just want you to attack the bronze gate of the Origin Creation Palace with me. As soon as he said that, God Son Mo Tuo clenched his fists and punched the bronze gate. Bang! A loud noise rang out, but the bronze gate didn't even shake. It still stood in the same place. However, God Son Mo Tuo wasn't discouraged. He continued to attack, clenching his fists and punching again and again. Perhaps one punch from God Son Mo Tuo couldn't shake the bronze gate, but what about 2? What about 3? What about 4? So, with God Son Mo Tuo's constant effort, the bronze gate finally shook a little. What the hell is he up to? Ningyu slightly furrowed his brows. He didn't believe that God Son Mo Tuo would be so kind. One who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Ningyu didn't just stand there. Instead, he clenched his right fist and attacked the bronze gate with God Son Mo Tuo. However, Ningyu wouldn't use his full strength like a fool. It was just a symbolic attack. The divine son of the demonic Buddha, no, the five-fingered immortal, had witnessed Ningyu's behavior. However, the five-fingered immortal's true strength was not because he needed Ningyu's help, but because he had other plans. Of course, Ningyu had no idea what the five-fingered immortal was plotting. Drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. When the five-fingered immortal punched out for the 1000th time, cracks finally appeared on the bronze gate and it began to shake violently. Gotcha! Another half an hour passed. Under the bombardment of the five-fingered immortal's 2000 punches, the bronze gate collapsed. Go! The five-fingered immortal was the first to rush out as soon as the bronze door was broken. It was as if there was some kind of incredible creation inside the Origin Hall. Whoosh! Ningyu frowned slightly, but he still chose to follow them in. Roar! However, as soon as Ningyu stepped into the Origin Palace, he realized something was wrong. There was only one reason. A loud roar came from the depths of the Origin Palace. What kind of monster is that? Ningyu stared straight ahead with his eyes wide open. He was slightly shocked. The reason Ningyu was shocked was because he had never seen such a monster before. It had 8 legs and a pair of unusually thick tentacles. Its mouth was like a rabbit's with 3 flaps. What surprised Ningyu the most was the aura exuded by the monster. A heaven immortal. In other words, it was an existence that was infinitely close to becoming a heaven immortal. This was because Ningyu could sense the aura of 4 heaven immortal laws from the 8-legged monster. 4 heaven immortal laws. This kind of strength was indeed very troublesome for Ningyu. Ha ha! Ningyu kiddo, stay here and help me deal with this eight-legged monster. Once I take away all the creation in the Origin Palace, I will come back and deal with you slowly. The five-fingered immortal threw his head back and laughed maniacally. Then, he disappeared in the blink of an eye, ignoring Ningyu's shock. It's him. Ningyu's face was gloomy. Although he had already guessed the identity of the demonic Tua Divine Son, he was still very unhappy when he found out that the demonic Tua Divine Son was the five-fingered immortal. However, even though he was unhappy, Ningyu now had to face an eight-legged monster with four heaven immortal laws. Ningyu finally understood the five-fingered immortal's plan. He wanted to use the five-fingered immortal to stall the monster while he went to obtain the creation in the Origin Palace. After all, the five-fingered immortal was much stronger than the ancient Divine Son, and he also had the mysterious wooden stick. The five-fingered immortal is slightly afraid of the eight-legged monster with four heaven immortal laws. I can imagine that the five-fingered immortal only has five heaven immortal laws at most. Ningyu thought to himself. Ningyu was not as worried after confirming the five-fingered immortal's true strength. Given his current strength, even if he used the mysterious wooden stick, he could only fight an expert with one heaven immortal law. But don't forget, he still had a purple heaven fate stone with him. To be honest, even Ningyu did not know how powerful the purple fate stone was. After all, the purple fate stone was the strongest trump card of the peerless divine son of the Heaven Fortune sect. At the very least, after Ningyu devoured the purple fate stone, his combat strength would increase by 2 or 3 times. I'll use the mysterious wooden stick to deal with the eight-legged monster and test my true combat strength. Although Ningyu had a rough idea of his strength, he did not dare to make any promises without experiencing a real battle. In other words, he might only be able to deal with an expert with one heavenly immortal law, or he might even be able to deal with an expert with 2 heavenly immortal laws. Kill. While Ningyu was thinking, the eight-legged monster had already arrived in front of him. Ningyu's expression changed slightly. He immediately took out the mysterious wooden stick and met the monster head-on. It turned out that Ningyu had overestimated his own combat strength. The eight-legged monster had 4 heaven immortal laws. Even the five-fingered immortal, who had 5 heaven immortal laws, would not dare to take its all-out attack head-on, let alone Ningyu. Without a doubt, Ningyu was knocked back by the attack and fell heavily to the ground. Ningyu's face turned pale as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Careless. Ningyu had indeed been careless this time. He should not have been defeated in one move with the mysterious wooden stick, the red fiend's sword, and the heaven fate stone. However, in order to test his true combat strength, he had been defeated in one move. Fortunately, Ningyu had used the mysterious wooden stick to cushion the impact at the crucial moment. Otherwise, the eight-legged monster's attack would have been enough to make him suffer. As Ningyu was thinking about devouring the Heaven Fate Stone to deal with the eight-legged monster, he suddenly heard a soft exclamation. Ningyu's heart stirred, and he hurriedly looked at the eight-legged demonic beast. When Ningyu was looking at the eight-legged monster, the monster was also looking at Ningyu. The two of them looked at each other. Ningyu was a little confused. This was because he did not see any killing intent in the eight-legged monster's eyes. Chapter 2013. You seem to be different from that old man just now. The eight-legged demonic beast stared at Ningyu for a while and then said. Ningyu did not say anything, because until now, Ningyu was not sure if the eight-legged demonic beast was really not hostile towards him. After all, Ningyu was temporarily unable to fight against an expert like the eight-legged demonic beast who possessed 4 heavenly immortals' laws. Take 3 of my moves and I'll spare your life. Fortunately, the eight-legged demonic beast did not make Ningyu wait for too long. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, The eight-legged demonic beast did not wait for Ningyu to react and immediately dashed out. The eight-legged demonic beast was so fast that Ningyu did not even have time to react before it arrived in front of him. Left with no other choice, Ningyu could only choose to fight head-on. After all, there was still a chance of survival if he fought head-on, but running away would only lead to death. Bang! Neither Ningyu nor the eight-legged demonic beast were slow, and they exchanged blows in the blink of an eye. A crisp sound was heard, and then Ningyu was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. Fighting against an eight-legged demonic beast who possessed 4 heavenly immortals' laws, Ningyu could be considered lucky that he was not killed in the first move. Not bad, not bad. You actually blocked my first move. Next, I'll have to increase my strength. The eight-legged demonic beast was obviously very satisfied that Ningyu blocked its first move. However, it still instantly unleashed its second move. Swoosh! The second move that the eight-legged demonic beast unleashed seemed ordinary, but in fact it contained extremely terrifying destructive power. It could be said that if the eight-legged demonic beast's first move could kill an expert with 1 heavenly immortal's law, then its second move could easily kill an expert with 2 heavenly immortal's laws. The power of the attack had doubled. Damn it! Facing the eight-legged demonic beast that was charging at him, Ningyu could not help but curse in his heart. However, despite cursing, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. Red demon sword. Mysterious wooden stick. At this moment, Ningyu could not care less. He raised his head and roared, brandishing the red demon sword and the mysterious wooden rod. For the second test of the eight-legged demonic beast, Ningyu chose to use his full strength. Bang! Bang! In the blink of an eye, the eight-legged demonic beast unleashed 2 attacks. One collided with the red fiend's sword, while the other collided with the mysterious wooden staff. 2 consecutive sounds rang out, and Ningyu was once again sent flying like a kite with its string cut. However, compared to the last time, the distance Ningyu flew was significantly shorter this time. Of course, this was not the most important thing. Most importantly, not only was Ningyu sent flying, but the eight-legged demonic beast was also pushed back a distance. Although the distance that the eight-legged demonic beast had retreated was very short, it was still very advantageous for Ningyu. Ha ha ha, good lad, I was right about you. The eight-legged demonic beast was not angry that Ningyu had pushed it back. Instead, it threw its head back and laughed wildly. If you can withstand my third move, I'll give you an opportunity. Give me an opportunity? Ningyu frowned slightly. To be honest, Ningyu was not thinking about any opportunity. He only had one thought in his mind, which was to withstand 3 moves from the eight-legged demonic beast and hope that the beast would not go back on its words and let him go. Now that the eight-legged demonic beast was saying that it would give him an opportunity, how could he not be confused and shocked? The prerequisite is that you have to withstand my third move. The eight-legged demonic beast's expression turned serious. It stomped on the ground with its 8 legs and dashed forward. Whoosh! Due to its extreme speed, the pair of antennae on top of the demonic beast's head made a hissing sound as they rubbed against the air. Following the hissing sound, the eight-legged demonic beast had already arrived in front of Ningyu. Take this! The eight-legged demonic beast raised its head and yelled. It used the pair of antennae on top of its head to stab at Ningyu. Although the eight-legged demonic beast did not use the heavenly immortal law in this move, the power of this move was much stronger than the previous 2 moves. Divine Fortune Stone. At the critical moment, Ningyu had no time to think. He immediately swallowed the purple Divine Fortune Stone. Buzz! As soon as the purple Divine Fortune Stone entered his stomach, Ningyu's aura increased rapidly. Ningyu's mouth opened slightly. His face was filled with disbelief. The reason why Ningyu had such an expression was because there were 4 forces of great Tao inside the purple Divine Fortune Stone. One had to know that the forces of great Tao were extremely rare. Any of the forces of Great Tao could become the focus of everyone's competition. The forces of Great Tao inside the purple divine fortune stone were extremely pure. It was the kind of Great Tao that could be devoured at any time. How could Ningyu not be dumbfounded under the circumstances? The reason being that he originally had 6 forces of Great Tao. Now that he had devoured the forces of Great Tao inside the purple divine fortune stone, the number of forces of Great Tao in his body had increased to 10. Of course, the forces of Great Tao in Ningyu's body could be compressed and reassembled at any time. Although he had 10 forces of Great Tao in his body, he was only displaying one of them. Let me test your antennae. Almost instantly, Ningyu devoured the 4 forces of Great Tao inside the purple divine fortune stone. With confidence, he chose to face the 8-legged demonic beast head-on. Clenching his right hand into a fist, the forces of Great Tao wrapped around it as Ningyu lashed out a punch. Ding! Crack! A pleasant voice was first heard, followed by an extremely crisp voice that resounded throughout the area. F***K-me. At that instant the 8-legged demonic beast was finally startled. Its mouth was slightly open, and its face was filled with astonishment. Because of this move, the 8-legged demonic beast did not gain the upper hand. Instead, it was at a disadvantage. Ningyu looked at his fist in disbelief. At that moment, Ningyu could basically determine that the 4 forces of Great Tao inside the purple divine fortune stone were definitely the forces of Great Tao that had experienced the heavenly immortal tribulation. To be precise, the 4 forces of Great Tao inside the purple divine fortune stone were extremely close to the heavenly immortal laws. They were only a step away from the real heavenly immortal laws. Otherwise, how could his fist, which contained the forces of Great Tao, withstand the powerful attack of the 8-legged demonic beast? I'm willing to bet, so I'm willing to lose. What kind of transformation are you going to give me? With strength, Ningyu's confidence instantly increased by several folds. After all, even if the 8-legged demonic beast wanted to kill him now, it would be very difficult. His overall strength was enough to fight against an expert with 3 heavenly immortal laws. He could easily escape from an expert with 4 heavenly immortal laws. Ha ha, kid, you haven't forgotten about that. The 8-legged demonic beast raised its head and laughed. It then stared at Ningyu and said solemnly, "The Origin Creation Hall is the palace of the Origin Creation Immortal. Before the Origin Creation Immortal left, he told me that anyone who can withstand 3 moves from me will be able to obtain his inheritance." Ningyu's face darkened. What kind of explanation was that? Chapter 2014. You've blocked 3 of my moves. The inheritance of the Origin Creation Immortal should belong to you. As he spoke, the 8-legged demon's body flickered and tore through the void, disappearing from Ningyu's sight. Ningyu stood in the same spot. He did not let his guard down even though the 8-legged demon had disappeared. After all, the 8-legged demon's behavior was too strange. Even now, Ningyu could not completely trust him. Drip. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, 3 minutes had passed. During this time, Ningyu did not do anything else. He merely unleashed his senses and paid close attention to his surroundings. Not only did Ningyu have to guard against the 8-legged demon's betrayal, but he also had to guard against the 5-fingered immortal's sneak attack. After all, the 5-fingered immortal had entered the Origin Creation Hall a long time ago. It was possible that he had already obtained the inheritance in the Origin Creation Hall. The 5-fingered immortal had 5 heavenly immortal laws, while the 8-legged demon had 4 heavenly immortal laws. Simply speaking, Ningyu felt that it was better to be careful of the 5-fingered immortal. After all, the 5-fingered immortal might be slightly stronger than the 8-legged demon. Swish! As Ningyu was pondering this, a shadow suddenly dashed over from afar. The 8-legged demonic beast. This figure was none other than the 8-legged demonic beast. Here you go. This is the inheritance left behind by the origin creation immortal. The eight-legged demon did not beat around the bush with Ningyu. Instead, he tossed a storage bag to Ningyu. Slap! Ningyu took out the red demon sword and placed the storage bag on top of it. Ningyu was no fool. He would not foolishly use his hand to catch the storage bag that the eight-legged demon had tossed over. If there was something wrong with the storage bag, wouldn't he have to bear the consequences? Therefore, it was always better to be careful. The eight-legged demon only twitched its mouth when it saw Ningyu's actions. This was because the eight-legged demonic beast knew that it would not be much stronger than Ningyu if it was Ningyu. Hiss! Ningyu flicked his wrist and sliced open the storage bag with the red demon sword. However, as soon as Ningyu split open the storage bag, he gasped in shock. The reason was none other than the fact that the items in the storage pouch were far too valuable, so valuable that even Ningyu could not help but be moved. Ningyu pointed at the palm-sized flying sword on the red demon sword. He opened his mouth slightly and said to the eight-legged demonic beast, "According to my estimation, this flying sword is at least a heavenly treasure, or even a mysterious treasure." In fact, Ningyu couldn't be blamed for being surprised. It was because the aura emitted by the small flying sword that the eight-legged monster beast had taken out was too terrifying. It was even stronger than the mysterious wooden stick. One had to know that the mysterious wooden stick was most likely a mysterious treasure. The mini flying sword's aura was even more terrifying than the mysterious wooden stick. From this, it could be seen that the mini flying sword was at least a profound treasure. It might even be a gold treasure of an even higher level. You're right. The mini flying sword is indeed a mysterious treasure, and it can be ranked above average among mysterious treasures. The eight-legged demon nodded and said, "Actually, the opportunity that Immortal Zin gave you was not this mini flying sword." "It's not a mini flying sword?" Ningyu was a little confused. The mini flying sword was a real mysterious treasure, and it could be ranked above average among mysterious treasures. What kind of fortune could be better than his? Ningyu could not think of anything. Swoosh! Suddenly, the mini flying sword flew out from the red devil sword. Under Ningyu's astonished gaze, it entered the body of the mysterious wooden stick. What's going on? The sudden change made Ningyu's expression change drastically. The mysterious wooden stick was his trump card. Now that the mini flying sword had entered the mysterious wooden stick, who knew if it would be beneficial or detrimental? F***ck. At this moment, Ningyu suddenly shouted and couldn't help but curse. He saw that cracks had appeared on the originally extremely hard mysterious wooden stick, and the cracks were getting bigger and bigger. This was something that Ningyu did not expect. That was because the mysterious wooden stick could easily break a heavenly treasure. How could Ningyu have expected this to happen to it? Don't be nervous. The mini flying sword is helping you. The eight-legged demon seemed to have seen the shock and nervousness in Ningyu's eyes, so it shook its huge body slightly and said calmly, "Helping me?" Because he pointed at his own nose, he was puzzled. The mini flying sword had almost broken the mysterious wooden stick, so how could it be helping him? Crack, crack, crack. Before Ningyu could recover from his shock, several crisp cracking sounds came from the mysterious wooden stick again. It fell off. The outermost layer of the mysterious wooden stick fell off and fell to the ground. Gulp. Looking at the mysterious wooden stick's current appearance, Ningyu couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. At this time, the mysterious wooden stick, no, it should be called the mysterious golden stick? After the outermost layer of the mysterious wooden stick fell off, its color turned golden. Ningyu knew very well that the mysterious wooden stick was not made of wood. Perhaps the mysterious wooden stick was its original appearance. Why hasn't the mini flying sword come out yet? Ningyu was puzzled because he found that the mini flying sword was still in the mysterious wooden stick. Don't worry, your creation is not over yet. The eight-legged demon rolled its eyes and reminded Ningyu not to panic. Ningyu had no choice but to choose to wait quietly. In the next period of time, the mysterious wooden stick kept changing, and it would complete a transformation almost every few minutes. At this point, Ningyu also found out why the mysterious wooden stick was changing. The reason was simple. The mini-plane was burning itself for the mysterious wooden stick to swallow and refine. Mystic treasure. Ningyu's eyes stared at the mysterious wooden stick's transformation, and he was extremely shocked. Ningyu originally thought that he knew a lot about the mysterious wooden stick, but the current situation made him realize that he knew nothing about it. The mysterious wooden stick was not in its peak state previously, and the power it could exert was not the strongest. The mini-flying sword's sacrifice made the mysterious wooden stick gradually reveal its fangs, showing the power it should have. Crack! About 5 minutes later, the mini-flying sword completely disappeared, and in its place was the mysterious wooden stick, which had turned dark gold. On the top of the mysterious wooden stick, there were 4 big words engraved. Essence Creation Divine Stick. The mysterious wooden stick's original name was Essence Creation Divine Stick. I see. At this moment, Ningyu suddenly understood. No wonder the 8-legged demon would give him an opportunity. It turned out that the mysterious wooden stick in his hand was Essence Creation Immortal's item. However, Ningyu was a little puzzled. Why would Essence Creation Immortal's Essence Creation Divine Stick fall into the hands of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? One must know that Ningyu had obtained the Essence Creation Divine Stick from his mother, Mu Yunshan. Mu Yunshan had once said that the Essence Creation Divine Stick belonged to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. What? A Peak Xian Immortal Dharma treasure? Suddenly, an exclamation entered Ningyu's ears. Chapter 2015. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The 5-fingered immortal stared at the origin creating divine staff in Ningyu's hands in horror. The 5-fingered immortal had been a true early-stage heaven immortal when he had been in a high-level realm. He had been only a step away from becoming a mid-stage heaven immortal. Therefore, the 5-fingered immortal was more familiar with the aura of a mysterious immortal than Ningyu. The aura emitted by the origin-creating divine staff was undoubtedly the aura of a mysterious immortal. Nothing is impossible. Before Ningyu could say anything, the 8-legged monster next to him said, "How powerful was the origin-creation immortal?" A peak mysterious immortal's Dharma treasure was just SOSO. Just SOSO. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. According to the 8-legged monster, a peak mysterious immortal's Dharma treasure was just a toy to the origin creation immortal. Based on this, the origin creation immortal's true cultivation base was at least a golden immortal. Ha ha ha! The 5-fingered immortal threw his head back and laughed maniacally as soon as the 8-legged monster finished speaking. The 5-fingered immortal laughed maniacally. After a minute, the 5-fingered immortal withdrew his smile and coldly glared at Ningyu. "Hand over the origin creation divine rod if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, I'll let you know why flowers are so red." "You want to let me know why flowers are so red?" Ningyu stared at the 5-fingered immortal in disbelief. Actually, the 5-fingered immortal couldn't blame him for having such thoughts. First of all, in the 5-fingered immortal's opinion, Ningyu's strength wasn't that strong. He should be able to deal with him easily. Second, although the 8-legged monster had 4 heaven immortal nomological laws, it was still nothing compared to the 5-fingered immortal's 5 heaven immortal nomological laws. Most importantly, the 5-fingered immortal had obtained a treasure in the depths of the origin creation palace. The treasure the 5-fingered immortal had obtained was none other than an elixir left behind by the origin creation immortal. A peak sacred grade. Without a doubt, the elixir obtained by the 5-fingered immortal was a peak sacred grade elixir. As an alchemist, the 5-fingered immortal knew very well what a pinnacle saint tier elixir represented. To put it simply, if he swallowed the pinnacle Saint Tyr elixir in his hand, his battle prowess would instantly double. Presently, he possessed 5 heavenly immortal laws, and if his combat strength was doubled, then he would even possess the strength to fight an expert that possessed 10 heavenly immortal laws. Humph! How stubborn! Seeing Ning Yu's expression, the 5-fingered immortal snorted coldly. Then, he rose from the ground and charged out. The 5-fingered immortal's target was Ning Yu. After all, the Essence Creation Divine Staff was in Ning Yu's hands. The 5-fingered immortal did not want Ning Yu to leave with the Essence Creation Divine Staff while he was fighting the 8-legged demon beast. "Let me try you!" The 8-legged demonic beast bellowed, and stood in front of Ning Yu. Ning Yu was the person chosen by the Essence Creation Immortal. According to the Essence Creation Immortal's instructions, the 8-legged demon beast was responsible for Ning Yu's safety. If Ning Yu met with misfortune, then the 8-legged demon beast would no longer have the face to meet the Essence Creation Immortal. Scram! The 5-fingered immortal was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the 8-legged demon beast. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched out with a loud shout. Bang! Since the 8-legged demon beast had to protect Ning Yu, it could only take the 5-fingered immortal's punch head-on. A crisp sound echoed. The 8-legged demon beast was sent flying backward. "You overestimate yourself!" After the 5-fingered immortal sent the 8-legged demon beast flying, he did not even look at it. Instead, he turned around and continued to attack Ning Yu. His strength actually doubled. Ning Yu's expression became extremely grave as he looked at the 5-fingered immortal, who was approaching him. Ning Yu had seen everything that had just happened. Normally, even if the 5-fingered immortal had 5 heaven immortal laws, he would not be a match for the 8-legged demon beast. After all, the 8-legged demon beast was following the Essence Creation Immortal, so it must be very powerful. However, as the 5-fingered immortal was charging forward, he secretly crushed a peak sacred grade elixir and forcefully inserted it into his body through his palm. Under such circumstances, the 8-legged demon beast was lucky that it was not killed by the punch. "Hee, hand over the Origin Creation Divine Stick, and I might leave your corpse intact." The 5-fingered immortal laughed sinisterly. "If you want the Origin Creation Divine Stick, you must first have the ability to do so." With a thought, Ning Yu injected his essence, soul power, and everything else he could use into the Origin Creation Divine Stick. Since the Origin Creation Divine Stick was a peak mysterious immortal magic treasure, which meant that it was a peak mysterious treasure, it must be very powerful. As long as he could use 10% of the Origin Creation Divine Stick's power, it would not be difficult to defeat the 5-fingered immortal. Swoosh! As soon as Ning Yu injected his essence into the Origin Creation Divine Stick, the Origin Creation Divine Stick left Ning Yu's palm and rushed out. As he watched the Origin Creation Divine Stick rush out, Ning Yu's mouth opened slightly, and he was speechless. Could the Essence Creation Immortal have left something in the Origin Creation Divine Stick? Otherwise, the Origin Creation Divine Stick would not have rushed out on its own. Ning Yu knew very well that when the Origin Creation Divine Stick was still the mysterious wooden stick, it had rushed out on its own. However, at that time, the mysterious wooden stick had been confident of winning. Otherwise, it would not have rushed out. Now that the Origin Creation Divine Stick had rushed out, didn't it mean that the Origin Creation Divine Stick was confident of defeating the 5-fingered immortal? Ding! However, it turned out that Ning Yu had been overthinking. When the Origin Creation Divine Stick collided with the 5-fingered immortal's fist, a crisp sound was heard. Then, it flew backward like a kite with a broken string. What the F***ck? Ning Yu cursed when he saw the Origin Creation Divine Stick flying backward. He had been excited about the Origin Creation Divine Stick just a second ago, but the Origin Creation Divine Stick had dropped the ball in the next second. Dropped the ball at the most crucial moment. Ha ha ha, the origin creation divine stick is mine. The five-fingered immortal could not be bothered with Ningyu anymore. He turned and rushed toward the origin creation divine stick. After all, the five-fingered immortal's target was the origin creation divine stick, not Ningyu. As long as he could get the origin creation divine stick, the five-fingered immortal would not care about Ningyu's life. Swoosh. The five-fingered immortal was extremely fast. It was so fast that it was terrifying. It could be said that the five-fingered immortal had never been so excited before. No one knew what a pinnacle dark treasure meant more than the five-fingered immortal. I am the biggest winner in this trip to the celestial spirit region. The five-fingered immortal felt that he was the biggest winner. Chapter 2016. You're the biggest winner? As soon as the five-fingered immortal finished speaking, a calm voice echoed in the surroundings. Who is it? Upon hearing this, the five-fingered immortal's expression changed drastically. He immediately stopped moving forward and floated in the air. At that moment, the five-fingered immortal was extremely shocked. That was because he could tell from the voice's owner's strength. It was not an exaggeration to say that the five-fingered immortal was extremely flustered. He was even trembling slightly. You are not worthy of knowing my name. The calm voice echoed again. Open your mind and let Ningyu control you. Otherwise, at this point, the warrior in the void paused for a moment before continuing. Die. As soon as the word die was said, a terrifying pressure spread out from the void. Crack, crack, crack. The pressure landed on the five-fingered immortal's body. Facing such a terrifying pressure, the five-fingered immortal did not even have the courage to resist. He immediately knelt on the ground as cracking sounds came from his body. Open your mind. The martial artist in the void berated again. I refuse to accept this. The five-fingered immortal pushed his hands against the ground and leaped up. The five heavenly immortal laws in his body flew out. One of them attacked Ningyu, while the other four attacked the void. Although the five-fingered immortal was suppressed by the terrifying pressure, he did not lose his rationality. He had a total of 5 heavenly immortal laws in his body. One of them attacked Ningyu, while the other 4 attacked the void. The five-fingered immortal had a plan in his mind. If the heavenly immortal law attacking Ningyu was effective, then he would most likely be able to leave today. Fear of harming the innocent. After all, if Ningyu fell into his hands, the martialist in the void would have to fear harming the innocent. You overestimate yourself. In response to the five-fingered immortal's actions, the martialist's figure flickered and appeared out of the void. The martialist who appeared out of the void was about 60 or 70 years old. He was dressed in light gray clothes and exuded an imposing aura. Origin creation immortal. Seeing the gray-robed old man come out, the 8-legged demonic beast that had fallen to the ground in the distance crawled up with great difficulty and cried out in alarm. Immortal origin creation? Ningyu stared at the gray-robed old man and found that the gray-robed old man looked ordinary. He didn't even have any aura fluctuations. Shio. Right at this moment, the gray-clothed old man flicked his finger, and a cold light instantly flashed out. The target of this cold light was none other than Ningyu's celestial immortal laws. Chi-chi. The speed of the cold light was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it blocked the path of the heavenly immortal law and collided with it. When the two attacks collided, the five-fingered immortal's heavenly immortal technique did not even last for a second before it dissipated. Hiss! Ningyu sucked in a breath of cold air. Immortal origin creation was actually this powerful? No, this is a clone of immortal creation. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have discovered something, and the shock on his face deepened. Originally, Ningyu thought that immortal creation had come in person, but now it seemed that it was only a clone of immortal creation. If a clone possessed such powerful battle prowess, one could imagine how powerful immortal creation's main body was. Puff. Just as Ningyu was secretly thinking about how powerful immortal creation's main body was, the sound of blood spurting suddenly resounded in the area. Ningyu turned around and saw the five-fingered immortal lying on the ground like a dead dog. You are Ningyu? Immortal creation looked at Ningyu after defeating the five-fingered immortal. That's right, Ningyu replied with a nod. Although it was only a clone of immortal creation, Ningyu still acted very respectfully. To be honest, immortal creation's clone's true battle prowess should be around the heaven immortal intermediate stage. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to defeat the five-fingered immortal so easily. Very good. Immortal creation nodded his head in satisfaction. Shortly after, his right hand made a grabbing motion, and the origin creation divine staff appeared in his hand. You are the person I chose, so I should give you a great fortune. The origin creation divine staff in immortal creation's hand kept spinning and becoming smaller. In the blink of an eye, the origin creation divine staff became the size of a palm. This, seeing the origin creation divine staff's shape, Ningyu's mouth opened slightly in shock. According to Ningyu's understanding, the size of the origin creation divine staff was fixed and could not be changed. But after immortal creation's actions, the origin creation divine staff underwent a huge change. Here, immortal essence creation faintly smiled and threw the miniature version of the essence creation divine staff to Ningyu. But Ningyu hurriedly stretched out his hand and firmly caught the origin creation divine staff. The origin creation divine staff is now ownerless. You can engrave your soul imprint inside. After saying this, immortal creation slowly walked toward the eight-legged demon beast. Swoosh! Ningyu did not stand on ceremony with immortal creation. He immediately used his soul power and injected it into the origin creation divine staff. Hiss! Just as Ningyu injected his soul power into the origin creation divine staff, he sucked in a breath of cold air. The reason why Ningyu had such an expression was because the fortune immortal creation gave him was too great. It was so great that he did not know how to thank him. 20%. Ningyu could now wield the origin creation divine staff and display 20% of its power. Even though it was only 20%, it was as terrifying as a mid-stage heaven immortal expert. In other words, with the help of the origin creation divine staff, Ningyu could contend against a mid-stage heaven immortal expert. This fortune really surprised Ningyu. Be careful of the people of the Black Abyss dynasty. Before Ningyu could recover from the shock, immortal creation's words reached his ears. Hearing this, Ningyu hurriedly turned around. Buzz 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 buzz. However, as soon as Ningyu turned around, he saw that immortal creation's figure gradually became illusory and eventually disappeared. Black Abyss Dynasty, Ningyu murmured. Then, he looked at the eight-legged demon beast and asked doubtfully, Immortal creation left? The eight-legged demon beast nodded and said, He left. The energy of this clone of immortal creation has been exhausted. I see. Ningyu suddenly understood. In ancient times there were clones left by experts. When the energy of the clone was exhausted, it would automatically disappear. Obviously, this was the case with immortal creation's clone. Let's go. Let's solve the problem in front of us first. The eight-legged demon beast transformed into the appearance of a middle-aged man. Then, the eight-legged demon beast ignored Ningyu's shocked expression and walked straight to the five-fingered immortal. It should be immortal creation's help. Ningyu looked at the eight-legged demon beast thoughtfully. The eight-legged demon beast did not just transform into a human form. Ningyu saw it very clearly. At this moment, the eight-legged demon beast already had 8 heavenly immortal laws. One must know that there were only 4 heavenly immortal laws on the eight-legged demonic beast earlier. Don't kill me. I know the whereabouts of your friend, that black dog. Chapter 2017. Swish. Ning Yu's expression turned cold when he heard the five-fingered immortal's words. He had lost contact with the Dark Sovereign and the others ever since he had arrived at the Myriad Demon's Ridge. Now that the five-fingered immortal said that he knew where the Dark Sovereign was, how could Ning Yu not be shocked? However, while he was shocked, Ning Yu did not lose his mind. After all, he wasn't sure if the five-fingered immortal was trying to stall for time. If the five-fingered immortal didn't say this, he would definitely kill him. Phew! The five-fingered immortal heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Ning Yu's cold expression. The five-fingered immortal rejoiced that he had coincidentally seen the Dark Sovereign when he had entered the Myriad Demon's Ridge and knew who had taken him away. Otherwise, he would have died without a doubt. After organizing his thoughts, the five-fingered immortal looked at Ning Yu and said, "The black dog beside you was taken away by the poison dragon guards of the blood poison immortal. I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Tell me where the Dark Sovereign is." Ning Yu's expression turned cold as he unleashed his aura and pressed it down on the five-fingered immortal. In all honesty, Ning Yu had the confidence to do so. Ever since he could use 20% of the Origin Creation Divine Staff's power, Ning Yu's strength had reached the level of a mid-stage heavenly immortal. In the Myriad Demon's Ridge, unless he had a powerful clone like the Origin Creation Immortal, he would be the absolute king. After all, a mid-stage heavenly immortal could rule over a mid-stage heavenly immortal in a high-tier plane. If I'm not wrong, they should have reached the Great Tao Valley, because the second-tier creation of the Myriad Demon's Ridge is there. The five-fingered immortal gritted his teeth. You better hope that your guess is correct. Lead the way. Before the five-fingered immortal could finish his sentence, Ning Yu grabbed his shoulder and leaped forward. Since he was worried about the safety of the Dark Sovereign and the others, Ning Yu's speed was extremely fast. Sigh. The eight-legged demon took one last look at the Origin Creation Hall and sighed. Then, he leaped forward and followed closely behind Ning Yu. Rumble. Not long after the eight-legged beast and Ning Yu left, the Origin Creation Palace collapsed. At this moment, the palace that immortal creation had left behind in the immortal spirit realm completely disappeared. At the same time, in a certain area of the Myriad Demon Ridge, several black-clothed martial artists flashed past. Xiao xiao xiao. These martial artists were very fast, almost catching up to half of Ning Yu's speed. It had to be known that Ning Yu was traveling at full speed. For these black-clothed martial artists to reach half of Ning Yu's speed, it was enough to show that they were not ordinary people. Whoosh! After these black-clothed martial artists sprinted at full speed for a certain distance, they found a slightly concealed place and stopped. "Bring that black dog here." The middle-aged man in the lead frowned slightly and immediately said to his left and right, "Ding." A cultivator beside the middle-aged man took out a silver-white ring. He exerted some force in his right hand and smashed the ring on the ground. The ring fell to the ground and made a crisp sound. Then, a black dog fell out of the ring. The Dark Emperor. If Ning Yu was here, he would definitely recognize that this black dog was none other than the Dark Emperor. However, the Dark Emperor looked very wretched at this moment. Not only was his aura weak, but there was also an extremely overbearing seal on his body. In other words, if one was not strong enough, they would definitely not be able to break the seal. If there was a weak martial warriors who forcefully broke the seal, then the person who broke the seal would be killed along with the Dark Emperor. I'll give you a chance to live. Tell me where Ning Yu is. The middle-aged man stared at the Dark Emperor and said in a deep voice. The Dark Emperor raised his head to look at the middle-aged man, then shifted his gaze elsewhere. The Dark Emperor's meaning was self-evident. Even if you kill me, I won't tell you where Ning Yu is. You won't give up until you see the coffin. The middle-aged man grabbed at the void with his right hand, and an energy chain appeared in his hand. Bang! 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 The energy chain swung continuously, whipping the Dark Emperor's body without any hesitation. Flesh split open. As the Dark Emperor was sealed, he could not use his energy. Therefore, he could not do anything against the middle-aged man's energy chain. He could only use his body to resist it. However, how could the Dark Emperor's body withstand the impact of the energy chain? Without a doubt, fresh blood began to flow down the Dark Emperor's back under the attack of the energy chain. Are you going to tell me or not? After a few lashes, the middle-aged man retracted the energy chain and stared at the Dark Emperor. Humph! Faced with the middle-aged man's question, the Dark Emperor harumphed coldly and did not reply. Good, very good, very good. The middle-aged man laughed in anger. Since you're so stubborn, I'll let you have a taste of the power of the poison dragon guards. As he spoke, the middle-aged man took a step forward and unleashed a terrifying aura. The poison dragon guards were the followers of the blood poison immortal. They followed the blood poison immortal to conquer the world. In high-tier planes, experts with the word immortal in their titles were at least in the mid-stage heavenly immortal realm. In other words, like the Five Fingers Immortal, the blood poison immortal had chosen to cripple his own cultivation and come to the immortal spirit realm in search of opportunities. The blood poison immortal did not have many poison dragon guards, only 20 in total. However, this was the weakest of the poison dragon guards, yet he had 10 great Tao energies and 2 heavenly immortal laws. The middle-aged man was the leader of the poison dragon guards, poison dragon number 1. He had a total of 8 heavenly immortal laws. 8 heavenly immortal laws was comparable to the 8-legged demonic beast under immortal creation. Crack, 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 crack. Under the pressure of poison dragon number 1's aura, 4 crisp sounds could be heard from the Dark Emperor's forelegs. Are you going to tell me or not? Poison dragon number 1 looked coldly at the Dark Emperor and berated. Actually, poison dragon number 1 was very anxious. There was still an hour before the order given by the blood poison immortal would arrive. If he could not find Ning Yu within an hour and bring him to the Great Tao Valley, he would definitely be punished. Thinking of the punishment that the blood poison immortal would inflict, poison dragon number 1's body trembled slightly. Don't worry, you will meet Ning Yu sooner or later. The Dark Emperor's lips curled up, and he laughed sinisterly. However, the day you meet Ning Yu will be the day you die. Stubborn fool. Poison dragon number 1 stepped on the Dark Emperor's head and said fiercely, If that's the case, I'll kill you first and have a feast of dog meat today. Swish, swish, swish. Before poison dragon number 1 could make his move, a few figures rushed over from afar. Seeing this, poison dragon number 1 retracted his right foot and said to the martial artists that were flying over, Do you know where Ning Yu is? No. The man in the lead was poison dragon number 2. He shook his head and said, However, we caught Ning Yu's friends, the human demon and Ning Lu. As he spoke, poison dragon number 2 threw the human demon and Ning Lu beside the Dark Emperor. Chapter 2018. Are you talking about Zhao Rui? Poisonous dragon number 2 shook his head again. When I was patrolling, I saw her, but she was taken away by a mysterious expert. Taken away by a mysterious expert? Poisonous dragon number 1 was slightly startled when he heard this, and then he said, Do you know which direction they went? To poisonous dragon number 1, he did not care who took Zhao Rui away, but whether he could find Ning Yu through Zhao Rui. After all, he did not have much time left. Poisonous dragon number 2 thought about it. If I'm not wrong, they should have gone to Great Path Valley. Great Path Valley, huh? Poisonous dragon number 1 frowned as he tried to think of a plan. From the looks of it, finding Ning Yu in the stipulated time was harder than reaching the heavens. After all, he could not obtain any useful information from the Dark Emperor and the others. Under these circumstances, wouldn't he be like a headless fly if he went to find Ning Yu? What about them? Just then, poisonous dragon number 2 pointed at the Dark Emperor and human demon. Leave the Dark Emperor. The other 2 are useless anyway. Kill them. Poisonous dragon number 1 glanced at the Dark Emperor and the others and said, It was not that poisonous dragon number 1 did not want to kill the Dark Emperor, but that he could not. The seal on the Dark Emperor was not left behind by him. More accurately speaking, before they captured the Dark Emperor, there was already a seal on him. Yes, poisonous dragon number 2 responded, then clenched his right fist and punched at Human Demon's head. Chi. Poisonous dragon number 2's punch looked ordinary, but it was not. Ignoring the fact that Human Demon was heavily injured, even if he could unleash his peak combat power, he would not be a match for poisonous dragon number 2. Damn it! Human Demon's face was livid. He was a heaven immortal, yet he ended up like this. He was truly aggrieved. At the end of the day, it was because he had too little Tao power and heaven immortal laws. If he could use a few more heaven immortal laws, poisonous dragon number 2 and the others would not have been able to capture him, and would have been captured instead. Remember this in your next life. Poisonous dragon number 2 did not forget to taunt the human devil before his fist landed on the human devil's head. I don't know if he will have a good memory in his next life, but I can tell you very clearly that you won't have a next life. However, before poisonous dragon number 2's fist could land on the human devil's head, an apathetic voice rang out in the area. Who is it? Hearing this, poisonous dragon number 2's expression changed greatly. He quickly withdrew his hand and looked around vigilantly. Actually, it was no wonder that poisonous dragon number 2 would have such an expression. This was because cultivators who could hide from his powerful senses either had powerful concealment techniques or were extremely powerful. Poisonous dragon number 2 was not a fool. The person who dared to speak to him in such a tone at this time must be the second type, extremely powerful. The person who will kill you. The indifferent voice sounded again. Shio. Subsequently, a dark golden cold light tore through the void and headed straight for poisonous dragon number 2. Acting all mysterious, poisonous dragon number 2 forced himself to calm down. At the same time, the heavenly immortal laws in his body surged as he wanted to clash head-on against the dark golden cold beam. Poochie. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Even though poisonous dragon number 2 used the heavenly immortal laws in his body, he was unable to block the dark golden cold beam's attack. The dark golden cold beam was like a sharp sword, directly piercing through poisonous dragon number 2's heart. Shio. After piercing through poisonous dragon number 2's heart, the dark golden cold beam did not stop. Instead, it charged towards the other cultivators. Ning Yu. Looking at the cultivators who had suddenly appeared, the Dark Emperor and Human Devil were both shocked and afraid. They were shocked that Ning Yu had actually come. They were afraid that Ning Yu might be a match for poisonous dragon number 1 or blood poison immortal. You're injured. Sensing Human Devil and Ning Lu's condition, Ning Yu's expression instantly turned cold. He kicked Five-Fingered Immortal's butt and said coldly, "I'll give you a chance to live. Get rid of Human Devil and Ning Lu. Otherwise, you should know the consequences." On the way here, Ning Yu felt that he shouldn't have killed Five-Fingered Immortal. First of all, Five-Fingered Immortal was not weak. If Ning Yu followed him, he wouldn't have to deal with the small fries. Secondly, Five-Fingered Immortal was an alchemist. The strength of his soul power was many times stronger than Ning Yu's. After weighing the pros and cons, Ning Yu felt that keeping Five-Fingered Immortal alive would be more useful than killing him. Therefore, Ning Yu chose to leave a small seal in Five-Fingered Immortal's Sea of Consciousness. If Five-Fingered Immortal dared to betray him, the seal would explode. If the seal exploded in Five-Fingered Immortal's Sea of Consciousness, it was obvious that even if he survived, he would be done for. Yes, I will do my best." Five-Fingered Immortal's forehead was covered in beads of sweat as he nodded repeatedly. Five-Fingered Immortal knew that immortal creation had given Ning Yu an opportunity. However, he didn't expect it to be this terrifying. Just the Origin Creation Divine Rod alone was able to easily kill poisonous dragon number 2. If Ningyu were to use the origin creation divine rod, how powerful would he become? For the sake of survival, Five-Fingered Immortal could only do his best to heal Human Devil and Ning Lu. Originally, Five-Fingered Immortal had wanted to take on the task of healing the Dark Emperor. However, when he sensed the seal on the Dark Emperor's body, he tactfully shut his mouth. Perhaps only Ningyu would be able to break the seal on the Dark Emperor's body. Strange, why do I feel this aura so familiar? Currently, Ningyu was standing beside the Dark Emperor with a frown on his face. The aura emitted by the seal on the Dark Emperor's body felt somewhat familiar to Ningyu. However, he was unable to recall where he had seen it before. It's Danzhong. The Dark Emperor could tell that Ningyu was confused. He said, "After entering the 10,000 Demons Ridge, I encountered an extremely powerful Danzhong. He left this seal on me." Danzhong. Ningyu's expression changed slightly. When his cultivation base was low, he had fought with Danzhong for a period of time. However, as his cultivation base grew stronger, he had never encountered Danzhong again. Now that he heard the Dark Emperor's words, Ningyu secretly became cautious. The current situation was relatively clear. Almost all the powerful forces of the immortal spirit state had flocked to the 10,000 Demons Ridge in search of opportunities. Do you know the exact cultivation base of that Danzhong? Ningyu asked again. I'm not very sure. The Dark Emperor shook his head and said, however, I know one thing. He captured me to make you hesitate. However, who would have thought that as soon as he left a seal on me, another expert would appear? At this point, the Dark Emperor paused for a moment before continuing. Danzhong hid me in a cave and chose to fight with that expert. I took the opportunity to sneak out while they were fighting. However, I was captured by some poisonous dragon guard. The Dark Emperor was furious. He could not wait to skin the poisonous dragon guard alive. This was because he had not been bullied by the poisonous dragon guard along the way. Don't worry, none of the poisonous dragon guard will be able to escape. Ningyu turned around and walked towards the other side of the battlefield. Chapter 2019. Who are you? Why do you want to be my enemy? Poisonous Dragon Number 1 stared at the eight-legged monster and the Origin Divine Staff as he shouted in a deep voice. At this moment, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 was extremely shocked. As a general under the command of Blood Poison Immortal, he only had 8 celestial immortal principles. However, the middle-aged man who suddenly appeared in front of him also had 8 celestial immortal principles. Moreover, the middle-aged man was not what he feared the most. What he feared the most was the dark golden magic treasure floating next to the middle-aged man. If I want to be your enemy, then so be it. What's with all this nonsense? The eight-legged monster rolled his eyes and said, Let me give you a piece of advice. You'd better surrender before Ningyu arrives. After all, Ningyu is different from me. He kills without batting an eyelid. What did you say? Ningyu? Poisonous Dragon Number 1's expression changed drastically when he heard the monster's words. His face was full of shock. But soon, the shock on Poisonous Dragon Number 1's face gradually turned into ecstasy. He could wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it effortlessly. The time set by immortal blood poison was about to arrive, and Ningyu had delivered himself to his doorstep. How could he not accept it? Ah! Poisonous Dragon Number 1 threw his head back and laughed wildly. Then, his face turned cold and he said sinisterly, Even the heavens are helping me. Looks like my luck is about to come. Someone really sends me a pillow when I'm feeling sleepy. As a general under the command of Blood Poison Immortal and the leader of the Poisonous Dragon Guards, there was a huge difference between Poisonous Dragon Number 1 and Poisonous Dragon Number 2. The difference between the two might not be particularly big in terms of hard power, but in terms of soft power it was like heaven and earth. To be more precise, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 had the trump card that Blood Poison Immortal left him. With the trump card that Blood Poison Immortal left him, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 was confident that he could contend with an expert with 10 celestial principles. This made Poisonous Dragon Number 1 very confident. "I don't have a pillow, but I can give you a head." Poisonous Dragon Number 1's arrogant laughter had just ended when an indifferent voice rang in his ears. Poisonous Dragon Number 1 turned his head hurriedly. Bang! A bloody head rolled directly to Poisonous Dragon Number 1's feet. Caw caw caw! Lowering his head to look at the bloody head at his feet, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 could not help but clench his fists tightly, making cracking sounds. It was obvious that the head under Poisonous Dragon Number 1's feet belonged to none other than Poisonous Dragon Number 2. "You have angered me." Taking a deep breath, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 raised his head and looked at Ningyu, who was walking straight towards him. He said coldly, "There is only one ending for those who provoke me." At this point, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 paused for a moment before continuing. "Die." The instant the word "die" was uttered, the Poisonous Dragon Number 1 rose from the ground and charged at Ningyu at an extremely frightening speed. It could be seen that Poisonous Dragon Number 1 was getting serious. Shio! However, before Poisonous Dragon Number 1 could reach Ningyu, the 8-legged monster beast blocked Poisonous Dragon Number 1's path with the Origin Creation Divine Staff. The meaning of the 8-legged beast was very clear. He wanted to help Ningyu deal with Poisonous Dragon Number 1. "Can you stop me?" Faced with the 8-legged monster beast's obstruction, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 obviously did not take it to heart. He flicked his sleeves and a flying sword appeared in his hand. The flying sword in Poisonous Dragon Number 1's hand was silvery white and emitted a powerful aura. A peak heavenly treasure. The silvery white flying sword had reached the level of a peak heavenly treasure. Ding! In the blink of an eye, the Origin Creation Divine Staff collided with the silvery white flying sword. A crisp sound was heard, and then the Origin Creation Divine Staff was sent flying. Repelling the Origin Creation Divine Staff was not Poisonous Dragon Number 1's goal. Shio! He held the silvery white flying sword and chased after it. In the blink of an eye, Poisonous Dragon Number 1 arrived next to the 8-legged monster. Poisonous Dragon Number 1 stabbed with his sword. This sword was extremely fast, so fast that the 8-legged monster had no time to react. Fortunately, at the most critical moment, the 8-legged monster instinctively leaned to the side. Otherwise, Poisonous Dragon Number 1's sword alone was enough to kill the 8-legged monster. However, even so, the 8-legged monster's arm was still pierced, and it fell straight to the ground like a kite with a broken string. "It's your turn." After casually defeating the 8-legged demonic beast, the Poisonous Dragon Number 1 turned around and charged at Ningyu. Poisonous Dragon Number 1 knew what was more important, and he would not waste time on the 8-legged monster. After all, his main target was Ningyu. As long as he could capture Ningyu alive, it would be meaningless to kill the 8-legged monster. No wonder he had the upper hand against the Origin Creation Divine Staff. Looking at Poisonous Dragon Number 1, which kept charging at him, Ningyu's face was slightly solemn. At that moment, most of Ningyu's attention was on the silvery white flying sword, and Ningyu ignored Poisonous Dragon Number 1. No matter how strong Poisonous Dragon Number 1 was, he was just an expert with 8 heaven immortal laws. However, the silvery white flying sword was different. Not only was it a peak heavenly treasure, but it also had several heaven immortal laws. Red Fiend. Ningyu began to contact the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword. If the Red Fiend sword devours the silvery white flying sword, will it be able to advance to a real heavenly treasure? In fact, Ningyu did not take Poisonous Dragon Number 1 seriously at all. As for Poisonous Dragon Number 1, as long as he used the Essence Creation Divine Staff, he could easily kill it. The eight-legged monster was no match for poisonous dragon number 1 even with the Origin Creation Divine Staff, because it could not unleash the true power of the Origin Creation Divine Staff. In other words, in the hands of the eight-legged monster, the Origin Creation Divine Staff was just an ordinary Dharma treasure. It was not even a peak heavenly treasure. However, once the Origin Creation Divine Staff fell into Ning Yu's hands, it would become a terrifying Dharma treasure that everyone would be terrified of. Sure. Red Fiend's reply was concise and to the point. During this period of time, Red Fiend had been trying to increase the level of the Red Fiend sword. At the same time, he kept asking Ning Yu to help him find high-level Dharma treasures. However, high-level Dharma treasures were not that easy to find. In order for the Red Fiend sword to advance to a real heavenly treasure, it had to devour at least one heavenly treasure. That's enough for me. Ning Yu's lips curled up slightly and he immediately grabbed the air with his right hand. Whoosh! In an instant, the Origin Creation Divine Staff tore the air and appeared in his hand. With the Origin Creation Divine Staff in hand, Ning Yu's blood was boiling. Poisonous Dragon number 1, ever since you chose to capture the Dark Emperor, you've already died. Ning Yu was expressionless as he charged forward with the Origin Creation Divine Staff. Boom! In the process of charging forward, an extremely terrifying aura was emitted from the Origin Creation Divine Staff. What? Poisonous Dragon number 1 felt fear for the first time when he felt the terrifying aura emanating from the Origin Creation Divine Staff. That's right, it was fear. A peak Dharma treasure. Chapter 2020. Damn it, why did I encounter a pinnacle mystic treasure? Poisonous Dragon number 1 was so angry that he wanted to curse. If he had known that the Essence Creation Divine Staff was a pinnacle mystic treasure, why would he have stayed? He would have taken the silver flying sword and fled. Now, the Essence Creation Divine Staff had revealed its fangs in Ning Yu's hands. Poisonous Dragon number 1 was dumbfounded. Poisonous Dragon number 1 did not have the guts to go against a pinnacle mystic treasure. No, no, no. Suddenly, Poisonous Dragon number 1 seemed to have discovered something, and his face was instantly filled with surprise. Ha 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 ha! Throwing his head back and laughing, Poisonous Dragon number 1 said sinisterly, Ning Yu, don't play tricks in front of me. Do you think you can control a pinnacle mystic treasure? You don't even have a single sky immortal law. How much power can a pinnacle mystic treasure exert in your hands? Today, not only will I capture you alive, I will also snatch the Essence Creation Divine Staff. A pinnacle mystic treasure, I believe immortal Shwedu will look at me differently, ha ha ha, it had to be said. Poisonous Dragon number 1 had a beautiful dream. However, there was a saying that dreams were beautiful, but reality was cruel. Reality was mercilessly destroying Poisonous Dragon number 1. Die. Ning Yu did not stop him. He injected his Yuan Qi into the Essence Creation Divine Staff and smashed it towards Poisonous Dragon number 1's head. Insignificant skill. Poisonous Dragon number 1 smiled and placed the silver flying sword in front of him. Ding! The two collided and a crisp sound was heard. Indeed, a silver spear wax head. Nice to look at but useless. Poisonous Dragon number 1 stood where he was and looked at Ning Yu, who had retreated a few steps. He said disdainfully, I advise you to surrender obediently, or I will make your life a living hell. Before Poisonous Dragon number 1 could finish his mocking words, he felt something sweet in his throat. In an instant, he spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, the intense pain from his hand made Poisonous Dragon number 1 have no choice but to throw away the silver flying sword in his hand. Swoosh! Poisonous Dragon number 1 had just thrown away the silver flying sword when a red cold light rushed towards him. Before he could react, the silver flying sword was snatched away. Damn it! Poisonous Dragon number 1 watched helplessly as the silver-white flying sword disappeared. He could not help but curse. Yes, poisonous dragon number one's body had suffered great damage. The best way to describe it was to say that it was too horrible to look at. At that moment, Ningyu landed in front of poisonous dragon number one with the essence creation divine staff. I suddenly changed my mind. Ningyu said calmly, "Tell me what your master's cultivation level is and where he is right now. Then, I can spare your life and let you end up like the five-fingered immortal." Poisonous dragon no. One did not directly answer Ningyu's question. Instead, he turned to look at five-fingered immortal, who was sweating profusely. When he saw five-fingered immortal's somewhat flustered appearance, poisonous dragon number one felt very disgruntled. He didn't want to end up like the five-fingered deity, becoming Ningyu's puppet and losing his freedom. I can feign ignorance for now, then slowly contact immortal blood poison. Poisonous dragon number one thought to himself. At the thought of this, poisonous dragon number one organized his thoughts and said to Ningyu, when immortal blood poison was in the high-level plane, he was at the mid-stage heavenly immortal stage. If I'm not wrong, he should be in the Great Dao Valley now. Great Dao Valley? Ningyu was slightly taken aback. Then, he asked again, "Do you know how many experts like Blood Poison Immortal there are in the Myriad Demon Ridge?" Before entering the Myriad Demon Ridge, Ningyu had already learned some secrets from Divine Sun Qiankuan and the others. High-level planes, Sacred Divine Palace, Primeval Demon Sect, Fallen Spirits Sect, and other powerful forces were about to descend. And the way they would descend was through the teleportation array in the Myriad Demon Ridge. Now that Ningyu couldn't even see the teleportation array, didn't that mean that the Sacred Divine Palace and the other powerful forces had already sent super experts down? That's right. Given Ningyu's strength, he wasn't afraid of those experts. But what about Zhao Rui? After all, he hadn't found Zhao Rui yet. Wouldn't it be very dangerous if Zhao Rui was captured by some small fry? Therefore, Ningyu wanted to know more about the specific situation in the Myriad Demon Ridge. Blood Poison Immortal is a mid-stage heaven immortal expert. Unless those powerful sect masters from Sacred Divine Palace descend, Blood Poison Immortal is the absolute overlord of the Myriad Demon Ridge. Poisonous Dragon number one snorted coldly. Clearly, Poisonous Dragon number one didn't understand the situation before him. Very well, you can go and die now. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders. He didn't comment on Poisonous Dragon number one's reply. Kid, you didn't keep your word. Poisonous Dragon number one bellowed as he looked at Ningyu, who was gradually approaching him. In the face of death, Poisonous Dragon number one was also very afraid. It's not that I didn't keep my word, but you secretly informed Blood Poison Immortal. Ningyu shook his head slowly and said, "Since you informed Blood Poison Immortal, then you have to take responsibility for your stupid actions." As he spoke, the Essence Creation Divine Staff in Ningyu's hand smashed down fiercely. Crack! The Essence Creation Divine Staff and Poisonous Dragon number one's head collided intimately. A crisp cracking sound rang out. Then, Poisonous Dragon number one's head exploded on the spot. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. At this moment, one of Blood Poison Immortal's generals, Poisonous Dragon number one, died in battle. Swish! The moment Poisonous Dragon number one died, the Red Fiend controlled the Red Fiend sword to quickly sweep out and snatch away Poisonous Dragon number one's primordial spirit. Ningyu only used the Essence Creation Divine Staff to destroy Poisonous Dragon number one's body. He didn't destroy his primordial spirit. Actually, Ningyu's method was very obvious. He wanted to leave Poisonous Dragon number one's primordial spirit to the Red Fiend so that he could better improve the quality of the Red Fiend's sword. Just as Ningyu finished off Poisonous Dragon number one, the remaining Poisonous Dragon guards died tragically at the hands of the eight-legged demonic beast. Although the eight-legged demonic beast couldn't fight against Poisonous Dragon number one, it still had the absolute upper hand against ordinary Poisonous Dragon guards. All of these people deserve to die. After killing the remaining poisonous dragon guards, the eight-legged demonic beast wasn't satisfied. It stomped on them a few more times. Seeing this, Ningyu was speechless. The eight-legged demonic beast's current appearance was that of a middle-aged man. But his actions, no matter how you looked at it, made him seem like a child. Ningyu, what should we do now? After stomping on the poisonous dragon guards a few times, the eight-legged demonic beast looked at Ningyu and asked, "Are we going to the Great Dao Valley or somewhere else?" "We're not going anywhere. We're staying here." Ningyu shook his head and said, "Staying here?" The eight-legged demonic beast was taken aback. He didn't know what Ningyu was planning. After all, staying here was not the wisest choice. "Recuperate for a while." Ningyu smiled at the eight-legged demonic beast and didn't expose him. Then, he walked straight towards the Dark Emperor and the human devil. Actually, there was something that Ningyu didn't tell the eight-legged demonic beast. Just now, in the instant before Noxious Dragon 1 had died in battle, he had secretly notified his master, Immortal Blood Poison. In other words, it was highly likely that Immortal Blood Poison would come over soon. The reason why Ningyu didn't tell the eight-legged demonic beast was because he was considerate of it. After all, Immortal Blood Poison wasn't like Poisonous Dragon number 1. When he was in a high-level plane, he was already a mid-stage heavenly immortal expert. Chapter 2021. How much longer? Ningyu asked as he looked at the sweating five-fingered immortal. Ever since Ningyu had appeared in this area, the five-fingered immortal had been busy treating Human Demon and Ning Lu. After all, Ningyu had given the five-fingered immortal an ultimatum: cure Ning Lu and Human Demon, or die. In order to survive, the five-fingered immortal didn't dare to be careless. When he saw Ning Yu's gloomy expression, the five-fingered immortal wiped the sweat off his forehead and said hurriedly, "Human Demon and Ning Lu's injuries are a little serious. I'll ask you one last time. How much longer?" Ning Yu waved his hand and interrupted the five-fingered immortal. Although Ning Yu's tone had become very calm, the five-fingered immortal knew that Ning Yu was angry. If his answer didn't satisfy Ning Yu, then Ning Yu might very well fulfill his promise and kill him. "Half an hour." The five-fingered immortal bit his lips and gave an accurate number. "Half an hour?" Ning Yu frowned slightly, his expression turning somewhat grave. To be honest, Ning Yu wasn't too sure when the blood poison immortal would arrive. If he couldn't cure the Human Demon and Ning Lu before the blood poison immortal arrived, then things would become very bad. "I'll give you the last half an hour." After saying that, Ning Yu walked over to the Dark Emperor. No matter what, as long as he could cure the Human Demon and Ning Lu, everything was fine. If the five-fingered immortal couldn't cure the Human Demon and Ning Lu in the allotted time, then unfortunately, Ning Yu would definitely kill him. Thus, the five-fingered immortal instantly felt a lot more courage on his shoulders. "How much longer can you last?" asked Ning Yu as he walked over to the Dark Emperor and patted his head. The Dark Emperor rolled his eyes at Ning Yu and said, "I'm fine. Apart from not being able to use my essence, I eat well and sleep well. Don't worry, I'll find a way to remove the seal on your body." Ning Yu comforted. Buzz. However, before Ning Yu could finish his words, his expression changed slightly. The surrounding space suddenly caved in, and a group of 5 cultivators appeared around Ning Yu, vaguely surrounding Ning Yu. "Come with me." The leader of the group was a burly man dressed in a black robe and a black bamboo hat. His face could not be seen clearly. 10 celestial immortal laws? Ning Yu did not care about what the black-robed cultivator was saying. What he was concerned about was the black-robed cultivator's cultivation. 10 celestial immortal laws. Previously, Poisonous Dragon number 1 only had 8 celestial immortal laws. In a sense, an expert with 10 celestial immortal laws was no different from a real celestial immortal in other aspects, apart from not having passed the celestial tribulation. In fact, an expert with 10 celestial immortal laws was no weaker than an ordinary early-stage celestial immortal. Brat, are you courting death? Seeing that Ningyu did not answer the black-robed cultivator's words, the other middle-aged man took a step forward. His aura suddenly burst out and pressed against Ningyu. Noisy. Ningyu glanced at the middle-aged man, then injected his essence chi into the origin, creating divine staff, and smashed it down. Rumble. Ningyu's move seemed ordinary, but it actually contained an extremely terrifying power. 10% of his strength, 20% of the origin creating divine staff strength, was equivalent to a full force attack from a mid-stage celestial immortal expert. 10% of his strength was enough to kill the middle-aged man without a problem. After all, the middle-aged man was different from the black-robed cultivator. He only had 6 celestial immortal laws. The middle-aged man's pupils constricted. Before he could block it, his body flew out and fell heavily to the ground. Fresh blood spurted out of his mouth, and his aura became weaker and weaker. Not long after, the middle-aged man's eyes rolled back and he died on the spot. Whoosh! The middle-aged man's death caused the other 3 cultivators' expressions to change. One should know that the 3 of them were on par with the middle-aged man in terms of strength. Now that the middle-aged man was killed in an instant without any chance to fight back, it was obvious that the 3 of them would end up the same as Ningyu. Swoosh! Thinking of this, the 3 of them shifted their gazes to the black-robed cultivator. Now, they could only pin their hopes on the black-robed cultivator. Before I came, Immortal Xue Du told me that Ningyu is not simple. I shouldn't underestimate him. I didn't believe it before, but now I finally believe it. The black-robed immortal did not take the middle-aged man's death to heart. He sorted out his thoughts, then looked at Ningyu and said, Immortal Xue Du is in the Great Dao Valley. He just wants to see you. It was obvious that the black-robed cultivator's attitude toward Ningyu had taken a 180-degree turn. His previous underestimation of Su Mo had completely vanished. It was no wonder. The fact that Ningyu could kill the middle-aged man in an instant meant that he could fight the black-robed cultivator head-on. The black-robed cultivator's mission was the same as Poisonous Dragon No. 1's. He was to bring Ningyu to the Great Dao Valley and bring him to Immortal Xue Du. The black-robed cultivator was not as stupid as Poisonous Dragon No. 1. In his opinion, no matter what method he used, as long as he could bring Ningyu to the Great Dao Valley, it would be a success. Give me a reason. Ningyu held the Essence Creation Divine Staff in his hand and looked at the black-robed cultivator with interest. Ningyu had thought that after Poisonous Dragon No. 1 informed Immortal Xue Du, Immortal Xue Du would come personally. Unexpectedly, it was not Immortal Xue Du who came, but a black-robed cultivator. If the black-robed cultivator had the same attitude as Poisonous Dragon No. 1, Ningyu did not mind killing him. However, the black-robed cultivator was very respectful. Ningyu decided not to kill him for the time being. He wanted to see if he could get more useful information from him. Immortal Xue Du can display the battle power of a mid-stage heaven immortal. The black-robed cultivator said proudly. Swoosh. Upon hearing this, Ningyu's body shook. Although Immortal Xue Du was a mid-stage heaven immortal in a high-level plane, this was not a high-level plane. This was the 10,000 Demon Ridge. To be able to display the battle power of a mid-stage heaven immortal here was enough to show how powerful Immortal Xue Du was. The 10,000 Demon Ridge has changed. Now, the 10,000 Demon Ridge is a region that connects the immortal spirit realm and high-level planes. In other words, the cultivation level of a high-level plane is the same in the 10,000 Demon Ridge. Perhaps sensing Ningyu's doubts, the black-robed cultivator explained. I see. Ningyu frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. If what the black-robed cultivator said was true, then his status in the 10,000 Demon Ridge would drop significantly. Using the Essence Creation Divine Staff, he could go against a mid-stage heaven immortal. But who knew how many mid-stage heaven immortal martial artists there were in the 10,000 Demon Ridge? Were there late-stage heaven immortal martial artists? Once those martial artists were no longer restrained by the plane barrier, the battle power they could display would be extremely shocking. Ningyu bad news. Chapter 2022. Swish. The words that reached his ears caused Ningyu's expression to change dramatically. Ningyu pushed off the ground and rushed out. The reason why Ningyu was so anxious was because the martial practitioner who had spoken was none other than the five-fingered immortal. Ningyu had just given the five-fingered immortal a death order to cure Ning Lu and the human demon in half an hour. But now, only a few minutes had passed, and the five-fingered immortal was already calling for help. How could Ningyu not be shocked? Shock was one thing, but Ningyu was worried about Ning Lu and the human demon's safety. What's going on? Ningyu instantly appeared in front of the five-fingered immortal. There's a terrifying energy inside your friend's body that's on the verge of bursting out. The five-fingered immortal didn't dare tarry. He hastily pointed at the human demon and explained. Ningyu's brows rose as he looked at the human demon. Ningyu sucked in a breath of cold air when he took a closer look. Inside the human devil's body, a terrifying energy was wreaking havoc in his 5 viscera and 6 bowels. It was obvious. If he couldn't neutralize this energy in time, the human demon's life would be in danger. At best, he would be crippled. At worst, he would explode and die on the spot. What kind of trouble is he in? Ningyu thought for a moment when he saw the human demon's slightly malevolent expression. In the end, he chose to ask about Renmo's current situation through soul transmission. Ningyu wasn't a fool. He could see that although the human demon's expression was malevolent, the human demon seemed to be excited behind it. That's right, excited. It was as if the human demon had purposefully used the energy inside his body. The myriad demon ridge has undergone a huge change. As long as I can break the seal in my body, I'll be able to display my peak strength. The human demon didn't hide anything from Ningyu. Help me break the seal in my body. I want to recover my peak strength today. Peak strength. Ningyu's expression changed. Ningyu had some understanding of the demonic human's strength. In a higher plane, a human devil would at least be a mid-stage heaven immortal. If the human devil could recover to its peak, it would be extremely good for Ningyu. How can I help you? Ningyu turned his head to look at the black-robed cultivator. Then, he turned back to the human demon and sent a soul message. Obviously, Ningyu wanted to silence them. Ningyu's action was to warn the black-robed cultivator not to act rashly. On the other hand, he was asking how much longer the human demon could last. If the human demon could last long enough, Ningyu did not mind getting rid of the black-robed martial artist, this ticking time bomb. Don't complicate matters. When you're helping me, you won't be able to display even the tiniest bit of your strength. The entire process will take about 15 minutes. Just do as I say. The demonic human replied with a soul message. Next, Ningyu sat cross-legged in front of the human demon and began to move according to its instructions. Is he trying to tempt me? Seeing Ningyu and the human demon's actions, the black-robed cultivator was dumbfounded. Logically speaking, with the terrifying strength Ningyu had just displayed, there was no reason for him to be tempted. If Ningyu was willing, he would definitely not be able to get a good result. The black-robed cultivator shook his head, rejecting this thought. Let's wait and see. The black-robed cultivator thought for a moment and decided to wait and see. In any case, the only cultivator here that he was wary of was Ningyu himself. As for the others, such as the Dark Emperor, Ning Lu, and the 8-legged demonic beast, he did not care about them at all. After all, in a higher plane, he was the one closest to an early-stage heaven immortal. 10 Sky Immortal Laws. In a higher plane, 10 sky immortal laws was the limit. In other words, without reaching the early stage heaven immortal realm, one could only have 10 sky immortal laws. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Seeing that Ning Yu and the human demon were still sitting on the same spot, not doing anything, the black-robed cultivator's mind started to become active. Logically speaking, Ning Yu had no reason to be like this. After thinking about it, the black-robed cultivator decided to ask. He got up and walked towards Ning Yu step by step. When he was 30 feet away from Ning Yu, he stopped. Ning Yu, I came with the greatest sincerity to invite you. The black-robed cultivator cupped his fists towards Ning Yu and said, I'm afraid that immortal blood poison will blame me for delaying the time. Ning Yu did not reply. In fact, he did not even look at the black-robed cultivator. The black-robed cultivator's expression was a little ugly. But when he thought of Ning Yu's powerful strength, the black-robed cultivator said patiently, Immortal blood poison is a mid-stage heaven immortal expert. Once he blames me, even I won't be able to bear the consequences. Ning Yu still did not reply. Swish. This time, the black-robed cultivator's expression completely darkened. He prided himself on his sincerity, but who would have thought that Ning Yu would not care about him at all? Under such circumstances, how could he not be angry? The three of you, go invite Ning Yu over. The black-robed cultivator's heart stirred as he instructed the other 3 cultivators. Invite Ning Yu? The other 3 cultivators were dumbfounded. Wasn't the black-robed cultivator clearly trying to scam them? When the cultivator who provoked Ning Yu was killed, they had seen it clearly. Now that they were asked to provoke Ning Yu, they felt extremely conflicted. On one hand, they did not want to offend Ning Yu. On the other hand, they did not want to offend the black-robed cultivator and immortal blood poison. After all, immortal blood poison was a mid-stage heaven immortal expert. Any cultivator who offended immortal blood poison would not have a good ending. The lightest punishment would be being refined into a puppet. What are you still standing there for? The black-robed cultivator stared coldly at the few cultivators and said in a deep voice, If I tell you to go, you have to go. The black-robed cultivator was furious. Strictly speaking, these 3 cultivators were his subordinate. Whatever he told them to do, the 3 cultivators had to do. Now that the 3 cultivators were acting very hesitant, it made the black-robed cultivator furious. If I die, then I die. The 3 cultivators looked at each other and immediately made up their minds, charging towards Ning Yu in unison. Swish, swish, swish. The 3 of them were very fast, so fast that they arrived in front of Ning Yu in the blink of an eye. Bang, bang, bang. Unknowingly when, the 8-legged demonic beast had already appeared beside Ning Yu. He threw out 3 punches in a row, and each punch landed precisely on the head of a cultivator. The 8-legged demonic beast's self-healing ability was very strong. Although it was injured just now, after 10 minutes of recuperation, it had already recovered completely. With the 8-legged demonic beast's strength, it did not need to spend too much effort to deal with 3 experts who only had 6 heaven immortal laws. Therefore, 3 crisp sounds rang out. The 3 cultivators instantly fell to the ground and had intimate contact with the ground. You! Chapter 2023. The 8-legged demon beast lifted its head to look at the black-robed martial artist without saying a word. However, the 8-legged demon beast's action had already made his stance clear. If he wanted to kill Ning Yu, he would have to get past him first. At this moment, no matter how stupid the 8-legged demon beast was, it could tell that Ning Yu was helping the human devil at a crucial moment. At this moment, Ning Yu and the human devil couldn't be disturbed in the slightest. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Since you're seeking death, don't blame me. The black-robed martial artist looked at the 8-legged demon beast coldly. He stomped his feet on the ground and dashed out instantly. Chi! The black-robed martial artist's speed was so fast that the friction between him and the air made a hissing sound. Moreover, the black-robed martial artist directly entered the void, causing the eight-legged demon beast to be unable to track him. Swoosh! Not too long had passed. In just 0.1 seconds, the black-robed martial artist appeared in front of the eight-legged demon beast. Remember this in your next life. The black-robed martial artist clenched his right fist and punched at the eight-legged demon beast. However, it was apparent the eight-legged demon beast did not take the black-robed martial artist's fatal punch seriously. It stood still and did not move at all. "I can't believe it." The black-robed martial artist's expression changed slightly when he saw the eight-legged demon beast did not move. In fact, the black-robed martial artist was only pretending to attack the eight-legged demon beast. His real goal was to lure the eight-legged demon beast away so he could attack Ningyu. However, it seemed like his plan had gone down the drain. "What other moves do you have? Use them all at once." The eight-legged demon beast's eyes gleamed coldly as it dispersed the black-robed martial artist in front of it. Then, it stared at the void in front of it and said calmly, "Buzz." As soon as the eight-legged demon beast finished speaking, the void trembled, and the black-robed martial artist appeared. "Initially, I wanted to spare your worthless life, but you're so eager to die." The black-robed martial artist looked at the eight-legged demon beast coldly. As soon as the word "die" left his mouth, he suddenly dashed out. This time, the black-robed martial artist used his true form. Actually, it was no wonder that the black-robed martial artist would go all out. On one hand, the eight-legged demonic beast was indeed powerful. If he used his doppelganger, he would not be a match for it at all. On the other hand, he discovered that the human demon's aura was soaring rapidly. In addition, he could faintly sense an aura from the human devil that only immortal blood poison could sense. What did this mean? Clearly, it was extremely likely that the human devil was like immortal blood poison, a mid-stage sky immortal expert. So, no matter what, the black-robed cultivator made up his mind. He had to take advantage of the fact that the human demon had not recovered to his peak state to strangle him in the cradle. Otherwise, even immortal Xuedu, who was far away in the Great Dao Valley, might meet with a mishap, much less be killed. "Humph! It's not good to be so firm in your words." The eight-legged monster snorted coldly and shook his wrist. The origin-creating divine stick appeared in his hand. During the gap just now, the eight-legged monster beast had quietly communicated with Ningyu and asked for the Essence Creation Divine Staff. Speaking of the Essence Creation Divine Staff, the eight-legged monster actually felt very lucky. Fortunately, Ningyu could still divide his attention to communicate with him. Otherwise, he would not have been able to obtain the Essence Creation Divine Staff. However, Ningyu did not give the Essence Creation Divine Staff to the eight-legged monster for nothing. Ningyu had given the eight-legged monster a difficult task. No matter what, he had to block the black-robed martial artist for 3 minutes. For this, Ningyu did not hesitate to use his blood essence to slightly stimulate the power of the Essence Creation Divine Staff. Even so, the eight-legged monster was not confident that he could block the black-robed martial artist for 3 minutes. After all, the black-robed martial artist had 10 sky immortal laws, while the eight-legged monster only had 8. Although there was only a difference of 2 sky immortal laws, it was this difference that caused the difference in strength between the eight-legged monster and the black-robed martial artist to double. Swoosh! At this moment, the black-robed martial artist arrived in front of the eight-legged monster. The black-robed martial artist's fists carried a violent yuan qi wind as he punched the eight-legged monster's head. Ding! 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 At this critical moment, the eight-legged monster hurriedly placed the Essence Creation Divine Staff in front of his head. A series of crisp sounds could be heard. The eight-legged monster's face darkened to the extreme as he felt the tearing pain from his perlicue. Endure! Although he really wanted to retreat, The eight-legged monster still gritted his teeth and persevered. The eight-legged monster knew that he could not retreat. As long as he retreated even half a step, Ningyu might be killed by the black-robed martial artist. 2 more minutes. The eight-legged monster waved the Essence Creation Divine Staff in his hand repeatedly while secretly counting the time. As long as he could drag it out for 3 minutes, he would be the winner. Let's see how long you can block me. Blood-devouring fist. The black-robed martial artist did not intend to give up. He did not hesitate to burn his blood essence to display his trump card, blood-devouring fist. The so-called blood-devouring fist was a peak sage-level martial art technique. Block it. The eight-legged monster's face was gloomy. He did not care what martial art technique the black-robed martial artist was using. In short, he only had one task, which was to stand in front of Ningyu for 3 minutes. As it turned out, although the eight-legged monster had the Essence Creation Divine Staff, he was still no match for the black-robed martial artist. After all, the eight-legged monster could not display even 10% of the Essence Creation Divine Staff's power. Under such circumstances, the eight-legged monster was naturally bombarded by the black-robed martial artist's fist, causing him to vomit blood. He's quite stubborn. The black-robed martial artist's face was extremely ugly. Even an ordinary early-stage Heaven Immortal martial artist might not be able to block his attack with all his might. He did not expect that the middle-aged man in front of him could actually block it. Looks like I can only use that move. The black-robed martial artist glanced at Ningyu and the human demon behind the eight-legged monster. Then, he took a deep breath and took out a storage bag. Rip. The black-robed martial artist exerted a little force in his right hand and tore the storage bag open. Then, the black-robed martial artist reached into the storage bag and took out a bloody heart. That's right. The thing that the black-robed martial artist took out from the storage bag was a heart. To be precise, it was the heart of a mid-stage Heaven Immortal martial artist. What happened next made the eight-legged monster's mouth slightly open, and his face was filled with disbelief. He saw the black-robed martial artist suddenly insert his left hand into the position of his own heart and pull it out. Then, the black-robed martial artist placed the mid-stage Heaven Immortal heart in his right hand where his own heart was. The eight-legged monster was dumbfounded. Isn't this 2F** King ridiculous? He had seen people exchange other things, but this was the first time he saw someone exchange their heart. Ordinary martial artists would die instantly once their heart left their body. However, not only did the black-robed martial artist not die, but he also exchanged his heart for a mid-stage Heaven Immortal heart. What was even more ridiculous was that the black-robed martial artist even swallowed his own heart in front of the eight-legged monster's horrified gaze. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.